Jerks today. We have a little poll going right now in the YouTube chat. I hope you check it out. I told you this was coming, didn't I? Didn't I warn these trolls? Haven't I said it for over 2 years that you should probably support Turtle Boy because if you're on social media, if you're saying things on social media, if you have a YouTube or Twitter, these witness intimidation laws could be used against you in the future. F around and find out today for some of these trolls. One of them just found out he's getting charged. He's getting charged with witness intimidation. We're going to talk about it. I've been telling them it's coming. I know a lot about this. I'm not going to say too much. I'm not behind it, but I know all about it. I know everything about it, actually. Um, Not going to say too much about it because, in terms of this specific charge on this specific individual, we're going to go through who he is, all his shit. We have everything. Let's talk about him today. Here's one of his booking photos. We'll get to him in a second. But basically, what's been going on? We've been watching this for weeks now, and it's frequently even coming up on the Howie Carr Radio Network when I'm on there with Grace Curley. I think Howie Carr's been talking about it. This juror and witness intimidation that's been going on from the anti-Karen Reed side for a very long time. And I've noted that there's a double standard and that what they do is way worse than what they ever accused Aiden Carney of doing. And lately, it's gotten so out of control since this Karen Reed verdict, especially against the jurors, but also against witnesses. It's just become like a news story. It's become a part of the coverage. We've been talking about this on the Howie Carr Radio Network. Like it's a regular thing right now. It is a regular thing that we've been covering, and it's just disgusting. We're going to post some of the troll accounts, some of their ridiculous posts, and basically what I'm going to say to these trolls. If well, let's go with the poll question. The poll question of the day. Poll question of the day right now. Let's just look at this poll question. Now, this guy who just found out he's being charged with witness intimidation. We're going to talk about his criminal record, the violence, the documented fights that he's been into over and over again. How he was so shit faced one day on a bicycle that he drove into a parked car. All kinds of stuff on this guy, Joe Warren. But he's not the only one. There's dozens of these folks out there. I wish YouTube would let me list all of them, but I just picked four of the biggest ringleaders in the juror and witness intimidation that's been going on for quite a while, in favor of Michael Morrissey and Hank Brennan, and I believe with their blessing. And Joe Warren, uh, Antiquated Rogue, as he's known. He's had a bunch of different Twitter accounts over the last couple of years because he posts vile, disgusting posts attacking children and families and making violent threats. He's been kicked off Twitter a bunch of times, so he keeps changing his accounts. His latest account yesterday and the last couple of days, he realized that he's being charged for witness intimidation. He freaked the F out. He created a GoFundMe to defend himself, which didn't go over well. It was up for hours with no donations. And then finally, someone gave him a measly $25 anonymously. He shut down and locked up his account several times, but then made it public when he was trying to get money for the GoFundMe. I believe it's locked down again. My question is, who's the next anti-Karen Reed troll who's going to lock down their account like Joe Warren did today? Is it going to be Krusty Panties? Is it going to be Grant Smith Ellis? Is it going to be Baghdad Bob or Julie Carpenter? I could have added a lot more of them in there, but let's just go with those top four. Which one do you think it will be? Right now, Krusty Panties is leading with 39% of the vote. If I were all of them, I'd make sure you have bail money and just to make sure you have a lawyer. I'd be looking for a lawyer right now, Krusty Panties, if you don't have one. And like I said, most of my predictions have come true lately, if you've noticed. Most of my I'm manifesting everything. I've been saying that lately. Everything I say comes true, right? This came true, and this is coming true. And for people that don't know, too, let's just put this up right now. This is Joe Warren. This is an earlier when he was booked in Suffolk County Jail in 2012. This is October 2012. This is Joseph Warren. Yeah, and you guys have posted some of the trolls up right now. Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of trolls we could be talking about. Seen them, yeah, seen them. There's so many. And one of the reasons I know this is happening, that it's not just Joe Warren either, why these other folks should be worried, is because I've been getting the phone calls. Who's behind this account? What's their name? Where do they live? And you know why they're asking those questions. So let's look at Joseph Warren. This is what Joseph Warren, and this is why I'm not going to say too much. Let me remove this one. Come on. Hold on one second. There we go. This one here. Oh, this is why he's reacting. And the reason I'm not going to say too much is because if you go on mass courts right now, if you go on their website and you don't have attorney access, you're just going to see what I saw here, which he's been docketed. He's scheduled for arraignment in August, first Monday in August, August 4th, I believe it says right there, right? He's going to have an arraignment. Clerk magistrate basically approved it. So this is going forward. He's going to be arraigned. And it doesn't show the paperwork, it doesn't show the complaint on mass court. So, and I know from his post, he doesn't even know who filed it and why. And that's why I'm not going to say too much about who filed it and why, because I believe this man is actually very dangerous. He's got a documented history, so I'm not going to tip him off. Who filed against him? I know some lawyers have looked it up. They have access. They know who it is. I know who it is as well. But there's a lot in play here right now. And what I'm saying is this is in Bristol County. It's not Norfolk County. So it's a different DA. And it's a police force that hasn't that's not working with any of these players, not working with Buchanan, not working with Tully, not working with Michael Morrissey. So this is going to be truly independent. So this is what he's reacting to. And let's just point out some of the things before we get back to Mr. Warren and his criminal record, which we're going to go through today. Let's take a look at some of these posts so you know what we're talking about. And this is for especially the greater media out there, the Boston media. You folks need to start covering this. You continue to cover Turtle Boy witness intimidation. You need to cover the DA supported witness intimidation that's been going on in Norfolk County, and how they're using some of the most vile, disgusting, and dangerous people who have extensive criminal records to attack people like the jurors, like witnesses, like myself and Turtle Boy and all these other folks for the last couple of years. And the reason why I'm speaking out today and showing this is because I know what these people are capable of. I've had them show up at my house. I've had them post my parents' 1972 divorce documents, which I thought was very strange and creepy. All sorts of things I could talk about that they've done to us. And it's just gross. And to see them now do it to witnesses, and especially these jurors and all the attorneys that are noticing it, we're just going to continue to show what they're doing. And we're hoping that the big Boston media, especially these TV networks, and the Boston Globe that they start covering this. Harvey Carr should not be the only large Boston media covering this. And I know that NBC Boston and Boston 25 have done good work on the Karen Read trial, no doubt about it. But have they really covered what's going on here? What's been going on for the last 2 years with these trolls? Why does it seem like the media only covers what Aiden has done and try to make it look like Free Karen Read is the side that's doing the witness intimidation, when we saw the Free Karen Read people, thousands of them, at court every day, abiding by the unconstitutional buffer zone, silencing themselves to try to do the right thing. Free Karen Read has been largely nonviolent, non-threatening, showing up, following the rules, and we're not protected by the district attorney's office and the Mass State Police. In fact, we're targeted. We're threatened. Where these folks have been acting with impunity because they felt protected by the district attorney, Michael Morrissey, by Hank Brennan, by the Massachusetts State Police. And we know this because we've watched them, what they've done, especially Kate Peter. And we saw what Jean wrote in her affidavit, Jean from Dorchester, about the $1,500 a month Kate Peter, Krusty Panties, is getting, allegedly from the district attorney's office. A woman with extensive criminal record who has charges right now in another district for witness intimidation again. These are the folks that the district attorney's office has aligned with. They've given immunity. I believe they've given immunity to. They've given them favors. I think they're helping with criminal charges. I totally do believe that. And money. I do believe the money is going around. And I do believe that Jen McKay probably did give Kay Peter a new couch as alleged in that affidavit. And that signed affidavit. So this is one of the recent threats. This woman apparently is a realtor somewhere. And I think she's just a random. But this is an example of what these anti-Karen Read people are stirring up on the internet. And they're creating more potential criminal defendants. This Sherry woman, I don't think she's part of the gang. Maybe I'm wrong. I have no idea because I've never seen her. She's not one of the main leaders of the anti-Karen Read movement that I believe has contacts, connections with the DA's office. So they're creating dumb people like her who then end up making threats. And this is what Sherry said on her social media recently. The O'Keefes will never win in a civil case either. We already saw the True Trials lose. I hope someone on our side, think about that. She has a side, her side. I hope someone on our side takes KR up. Did you see that? I can't even say it. I'm worried about saying it on the YouTube channel. She doesn't deserve to L. I mean, that is a threat on a life right there. That's threatening Karen Read's life, hoping that someone does something crazy. This is what I don't want to see. Any person I'm posting up on here or calling out, I don't want to see more attacks of them. I think at this point, we ask law enforcement and the media to take care of it. We don't engage with these people. I'm not engaging with Sherry, except I'm putting it up on the screen because I feel like this is a legitimate threat. And what we need is to expose it. And if it's a threat, the person who's been threatened, I would suggest get an attorney and go to your local police station. We had the district attorney candidate on recently, Juna Perkins. That's what she suggested. And guess what? Guess what's been going on, folks? Guess what's been going on? Victims have been doing just exactly that. If they feel like it's a threat, they're stepping up. A lot of times they're getting their own attorneys and they're going into the local police departments And this is what's happening right now. And that is a threat, Sherry. And if I were you, Sherry, I'd be looking for a criminal defense attorney right now. Just saying. All right, let's look at a few more. We got a lot here. And we're gonna look at Joe more too. I'm gonna go through Joe's criminal. We got a lot on him. This guy's a beaut. You know what I'm gonna do right now? Let's just look at the super chats and see what's going on in the chat. I haven't even looked at you guys. I've just been going on my rant. You know how I get sometimes. I'm fired up today. Sarah, thank you so much. She just gifted 10 Young Jerks membership. She's our moderator. Thank you so much, Sarah. You're amazing. You are very thankful for you. And she's been here for a year now as a member. And she said, thank you for everything. Thank you so much, Sarah. An OnlyFan, been a member for 8 months now. Says once a jerk, always a jerk. Thank you so much. OnlyFan. Well, we got a lot of jerks here tonight. Thank you so much. Today, actually, during the day. 2,000 jerks here. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And living in a dreaded blue state. Let me say that again. Living in a dreaded blue state sent $20 and said, what entity is charging him? So what this is Bristol County District Attorney's Office. That's who's going to be prosecuting it. I believe it's the Mansfield Police Department that filed the criminal complaint against Joseph Warren for witness intimidation. So there you go. A local town police department, not Norfolk County, not Michael Morrissey's district, a local police department in Bristol County. We'll see how Thomas Quinn, the DA, handles this. And you know, if Thomas Quinn doesn't handle it right, we'll have a lot of hay here because I've already covered some stuff on Thomas Quinn. Eric Mack, who's been on the show, he's an attorney. You remember Shannon McMahon, who used to be also a prosecutor, assistant DA. She ran for DA against Thomas Quinn. She's been on the show several times. So if Thomas Quinn doesn't handle this right, we're gonna have some fun on this show, guarantee on that. That's the DA of Bristol County. The Lothario official accounts at $99, $100 basically, $99.99. Thank you so much, Nan. She says, thank you for shining a light on this. Special recognition to Jason Broyles and fierce advocacy on this. The best. Keep showing up. Definitely want to thank Jason for sending along the documents last night, too, on Joe Warren. Also, Mission Hill Lady, she just became a YouTube member. Thank you so much for that. Awesome. Very cool. OnlyFan just gifted 5 Young Jerks memberships. Wow. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Wow, a lot of super chats early. Thank you so much today. I appreciate that. All right, let's get back to this. Let's just throw a couple more things up. I got a lot of image files here. Of course, I keep posting up the same ones. Hold on. Just give me a couple minutes here. You know what I'm going to do? Hold on. Yeah, I do have a shitload. Let's just bring them up one by one. There's one from Grant Smith Ellis. Grant, I'm wondering, do you have a criminal defense attorney, Grant? If I were you, I'd be looking for one. Just saying. Just saying, dude. I mean, your poster, you've got a conspiracy theory about Egypt and the CIA related to the Karen Reed juror. I mean, the judge might just pity you because you're so insane. So maybe you'll get off. I mean, maybe they'll just be like, this guy's cooked. We're just going to put him in some some counseling or something, because you are, I mean, look at you, dude. Day after day, you're posting this crazy shit. Do you think, Grant, do you think these posts make the juror uncomfortable? Do you know that law that you've been pushing on Aiden and Champion? Have you actually read it, Grant? Do you know that Paula, the juror that you're going after about spy swaps with Egypt, is a protected witness under the witness intimidation law as a juror? And that these posts might make her uncomfortable. Mm, not smart, kid. Not smart, Grant. And I wish these idiots weren't doing this, because I don't like these witness intimidation laws. I've said it over and over again. But some of these folks definitely are stepping way over the line. Way over the line. Masshole Mafia, that's Kate Peter, the one who I believe is the chief ringleader with Brian Tully and Michael Morrissey and Hank Brennan, running this crew of miscreants. This is one of her posts. Of course, these jurors are being paid. Of course they are. This is injustice. It's a sham. The O'Keefe family deserves so much than this. So much more than this. It's funny because I've talked to Paula quite a bit on DMs, and I have been inviting her on my show, and she hasn't, like, she gets back to me about stuff, but never has she booked an appearance on my show. And never has she, when I've been asking her, has she asked, "Hey, can you pay me?" Which I would do, actually. I would throw her a donation if she. I don't generally. I don't pay people to come on my show. It's really never been a practice here. Certain people I definitely would kick in, and at times I may have made donations to certain guests that I think are worthy, because I want to support what they're doing, their journalism, especially if we're making some money on it. And someone like Paula, I would definitely throw a donation at her if she wanted to come on my show. She never asked for one. So it's funny that Kate, of course, just assumes that they're being paid. And from what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it with Paula Prado. Not seeing it. Not seeing that she's being paid. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, if she wants to get paid for her time, totally acceptable in my opinion. I wouldn't mind supporting her family at this point, kicking in a donation. Why not? But there's no indication of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, she could do that. Like, I don't see it. Is this witness intimidation? Some of the stuff that Kate's been posting, I'd be worried if I were you, Kate. I'd be worried. All right, here's Michael Walsh's post. He's an attorney. This is about what he saw on the application for the criminal complaint against Joe Warren. I'm just gonna post. I'm gonna try to post most of these up because I do have some more, and they are kind of out of order. I'm sorry about that. Should have been a little more organized. I'm trying to do my best here on the fly, but so much is happening. You know, it's hard to do anything ahead of time here. Here we go. So the big tough guy, this big tough guy, Joe Warren, who's got an extensive criminal history of attacking people and starting fights in the street, most recently with some teenagers, violently assaulting people for no reason. Ontology of Rogue was his latest Twitter account. It's still there. He would, go after people, always complain like, "Oh, you blocked me. You're afraid." Today, all his posts are protected. after he raised $25 on his GoFundMe. Freaking hilarious. All right. You know what I'm going to do? Instead of going through all this crap, all these JPEGs that are unorganized, I'm just going to get right to the heart of it. Let's take a look at this guy, Joe Warren. Like I said, this is a booking photo from 2012 where he was booked into the Suffolk County Jail. It says he's had 3 commitments. So I think unless they're talking about some other type of commitment, I believe they're talking about how many times he's been in jail. So he's been in jail more than once. We could increase the size a little bit. I'm wondering why we can't. Oh, here it is. All right. So a lot of these incidents that we're going to go through with Joe Warren, there's pages and pages of them. What you're going to see is a lot of the names are blacked out. So oftentimes we're trying to figure out whether it's Joe Warren is the victim or the perpetrator. I didn't put that on screen. Hold on. All right, here we go. But even when he's the victim, there is one case where I believe he's definitely the victim where it's blacked out. You can tell because he's saying racist shit. Now, one thing we know about Joe Warren, he hates women, he hates minorities, he is racist as all as he is as far racist as you'll ever find. He is like racism in your face, like he is not afraid to look at a black person and say the N word to their face. Like, this is what he does. This is what he gets off on. This is why he gets in so many fights in public. He is that unhinged. So, this is from April of 2018. While en route to a call, officers were advised the victim, later identified as, was hit over the head while with an object, was bleeding and standing in the Staples parking lot. The suspect was described as a. So basically, this is it's hard to read with all the blanks. So I'm just gonna try to cut to the chase of the best parts here. So this is one where Joe Warren is definitely the suspect. And here's his story. They stopped the suspect, later identified, I'm going to say, as Joe Warren, in front of Staples. Officers Linane and Linsky arrived to assist. This is the Boston police. The suspect stated, blah, 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 attempted to steal the bike, but he was able to fight them off. He did admit to drinking and continued to state he lost his contacts. So this is Joe Warren. Over and over again, what you're going to see is Joe Warren getting in random fights with people on the street, drunk, while he's drunk, intoxicated. And this is another incident where he did that. And now this is the same officers going over to speak to the victims. And they said this is somebody who was in the company of the victim. They stated they had just finished eating dinner at Panera Bread and were walking down. The suspect then began to yell and scream random comments at them. This is a frequent thing with Joe Warren. he starts yelling and screaming at people, random people. They thought he was kidding and asked the suspect what he said. The suspect then became aggressive and started calling them the N word. See what I'm saying? He randomly, this is a guy that will find people of color, black people, and then yell racial epithets, this big white guy, and then he'll claim he's a victim later after a fight breaks out. So this is they stated don't. So the victims told him, don't say that. Don't call us the N word. The suspect then ran at both of them with a bike lock chain and began striking them with the lock. They suffered lacerations to the face and a laceration to the back of the head. Think about that. A bike lock to the back of the head. Oh, where a substantial amount of blood was coming from the head. He had a bump on his forehead. He was transported to the hospital, Beth Israel, by EMS. So think about that. Joe Warren walks up to these, and I believe these were kids, teenagers, starts calling the N word. They say, don't do that. And then he attacks them and starts beating them with a bike lock so badly that the blood and the trauma, they had to call an ambulance and get taken away by ambulance. This is who Joe Warren is. This is the guy that's up on the witness intimidation charges right now. Do you see how serious this is? And this isn't a one-off incident. And so they, this goes on to say the police, asked them to identify who the suspect was. They pointed at Joe and said, "That's him. He did it." They placed him under arrest for assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, 2 counts. He was transported to D4 and booked. The bike lock and chain was logged in as evidence. Red Trek bike was also logged in. So this is one of the witness intimidators. Nice guy, huh? Look at all this stuff that's blacked out here. This is 2018. Now here's a new incident. This is the latest incident. This is 2024, October 2024. This guy's still having issues. Let's read this one. 2:16 p.m. The police respond where the caller to 911 stated was following a person who'd stolen a package off of a porch. On arrival, the police officer located the caller victim, who informed police officers that were alerted the delivery was placed on the front porch. When he went to retrieve the package, he found it was gone. Checking surveillance video and cell phone on his cell phone, he observed blah 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 taking the package. So someone stole a $42 toaster from a front porch. That's part of Joe Warren's record, apparently. I'm not sure if he had the toaster stolen or it was someone else. This is those November 6, 2020. This is another offense incident report that somewhere mentions Joe Warren. We're just going to read it because I think you get an idea of who this guy is by the incident reports. At 10:06 p.m., so again on a Friday night, 10 o'clock at night, officers respond to a radio call for another assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. You see the trend here? This guy he's not, if he was a tough guy, he wouldn't need a weapon. I mean, that's number one. So again, a rental blue bike carrying a metal pole. This is the suspect. They're on a rental blue bike carrying a metal pole. Upon arrival, officers observed the victim lying in the road. The victim was rocking back and forth, holding the left side of his back. Officers requested EMS on scene to evaluate the victim. When officers asked what had occurred, the victim refused to answer and continued to state that nothing happened. As EMS arrives on scene, the victim jumped off the ground and attempted to run. It appears the victim was under the influence of drugs and alcohol, was extremely uncooperative, could not stand up straight. The victim briefly stated he had smoked meth. Due to the victim acting in erratic manner, officers placed the victim in cuffs and assisted EMS while transporting him to Tufts Medical Center. The victim stated, "Leave me alone. I want to, do myself." The victim continued to yell and scream. While attending to the victim, the witnesses approached officers and stated he observed the victim and the suspect hanging outside the Chinatown Gate Park. He stated the victim was acting crazy, yelling at numerous bystanders in the area. He stated the suspect approached the victim and started hitting him multiple times in the back of the head. Now, I don't know who's the victim and who's the perpetrator here, but I'm just guessing from what I'm seeing here is that the victim is a homeless drug addict screaming and yelling, and then Joe Warren decides to clean up the neighborhood like he always talks about on his Twitter, right? Approached the victim and started hitting him multiple times in the back of the head. Stated the fight continued onto the road. The suspect hit the victim 2 or 3 times with a metal pole while the victim was on the ground and fled on a blue bike up towards. He stated he attempted to chase after the suspect but lost sight. Officers scanned the area around the. There we go. So the officers are looking for this guy. Is this another incident? I see. I get confused how many incidents there are here. We'll read it. At about 10:30 p.m. on Friday, 11:20. I think this is the same one. Let's go back. Is that the same time, 10:30? So these are different dates. Yeah, that was that. They're all running into each other. There's so many incidents here. All right, so this is a different date. It's funny because they're always Friday night, right? Friday night at about 10:30. At about 10:30 on Friday, November 20th, 2020, Officer Creven and responded to a radio call for assault and battery in progress. Upon arrivals, officers spoke to victim who stated that while standing on the sidewalk minding his own business, an unknown man approached and yelled at him for being loud. Victim stated the suspect then grabbed him, threw him to the ground, ripping jacket along the right side. Victim then stated that suspect went into an unknown building. Victim declined to go to the hospital. Do you see how many there are here? Just goes on and on and on. All right, I'm gonna check in with the super chat. Someone just asked, "Is Sean on the golf and Joe Warren friends?" Not really. Come on, Sean's not hanging out with that guy. You know, Sean, like everyone else too, got a lot of shit. I guarantee you. So I may give Sean a little shit here and there. He gives me a little shit back, but he's not hanging out with Rogue. You know? No way. In fact, he called him out pretty heavily early on. He really did. Uh, Sherry D gifted 10 Young Jerks memberships. Thank you so much, Sherry D. Wow, you guys are very generous today. Also, Mission Hill Lady also gifted 5 Young Jerks memberships. Wow, thank you so much. A lot of memberships going out today. Awesome. I'm gonna have to do a member show soon. Hubert sent $4.99. Said Warren used to be on Karen's side. I saw him sitting on our side in court 2 years ago. Bizarre. Exactly. He was on Karen's side at first. I believe he got mad at Karen and was friends with Natalie. Mia B says, Mike, cheers to you all for all your tireless coverage of Free Karen Read, and a special shout out to Skip Tracer for all of his work pulling the documents to expose Joe Warren. Yeah, I got to say, Skip Tracer has posted a lot of good shit on this. I'd say Haley and Skip Tracer have definitely, those two have exposed a lot on Joe Warren. And yeah, thank you for everybody who's been supporting today. Thank you for the $100 donation, Mia B. That was amazing. That's you and Nan dropping the big dollars today. Thank you. All right, let's continue to go through Joe Warren's rap sheet. If anyone wants a copy of this, you can ask Not Haley on Twitter. They'll send it over to you, the doc that I'm looking at right now. All right, this is December 15th, 2020. Again, it's 10 p.m., except not on a Friday this time. It's on a Tuesday night. I guess he goes out on Tuesday night too. About 10:01 p.m. on Tuesday, 12/15/2020. I'm getting a vibe that he might be like a waiter. I know he was a waiter before, but it just feels like maybe he's a waiter that gets done at like 8 o'clock, and by 10 he's shit faced out of his mind. Tuesday night, 12/15/2020. Officer Donlin responded to a radio call for an investigation regarding a conscious moving person located at, this is a good one. Upon arrival, Boston EMS was on scene. The victim appeared to be bleeding heavily from a laceration on his face, and there appeared to be droplets of blood located on the side of the street at the intersection. The victim stated that he was picking medication up from the nearby CVS when an unknown. Oh, so this is a different one. I thought this was the one when he drove his bike into the parked car. Okay, so this is another. Looks like a fight and assault. So he stated that he was picking medication up from the nearby CVS when an unknown suspect jumped him, hitting him with a broom and punching him in the face. The victim stated that the unknown suspects took the blue iPhone wallet and $200 in cash. The victim stated the suspects walked from the intersection. So again, I don't know if this is the one where maybe he got mugged. Maybe he got mugged by some people. I'm not sure on this one, you know? Some of them will actually show who the perpetrator is. A couple of them do, but most of them don't show in this FOIA request who did what, which is interesting. So we're trying to parse if he's the victim in this one or he. You have to wonder too, like if someone's a victim and getting in, fights, you wonder if he didn't start that one too, right? All right, here's another one. Saturday, October 9th, 2021, 6:35 Saturday. He must have got started early that day. Not 9 or 10 this time. It's a 6:35 on a Saturday. Cops responded to a radio call for an investigate person threat in the area of prior to arrival. Officers were notified by dispatch that a certain person was following in the neighborhood and calling them names. Does that sound like somebody we know? Upon arrival, officers were flagged down by two victims who wanted to remain anonymous. They pointed out the suspect, the two, stated that he had been following them and yelling insulting words such as the following: the C word, the B word, Leslie. Oh, that sounds like Joe Warren. He's calling them all the derogatory names. The victims further stated at one point he was trying to provoke them by yelling, "Do you want to fight?" That sounds just like Joe Warren. So again, Joe Warren, random people, he's walking, following them around, calling them names, asking them if they want to fight. Officers spoke to, and he stated that the females were harassing him, and he was just trying to make his way home after a protest. This guy, he's trying to start fights with women. What a scumbag. Random women he doesn't even know. You want to fight? Officers informed that his misbehavior will be documented. He should be yelling. They let him go. They let him go on his way. They sent him in opposite directions. See the pattern here with this guy? May 24th, 2024, another incident. This is in the morning. About 7:59 a.m. on a Friday. Cops responded to a radio call for vandalism. Upon arrival, officers spoke with the caller, stated about 2 a.m. vehicle was damaged, vandalized the vehicle, blah, 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 was parked in the street. Stated that he was alerted by his phone. The camera activation took place. The observed neighbor described as a stated that he saw neighbor place a foot on a bumper. And when he checked this morning, there was damage. So someone damaged a car. Some vandalism going on. All right, here's another incident. How many incidents do you think? We haven't even got to the car accident, the driving into a parked car yet. Oh, let me see. Someone's texting me. I turn this off. All right. Thank you so much, Shady, Norfolk County DA. Thank you very much for the membership. It says, Mike, you were the first I watched streaming Karen Reed. All right, let's try to get through this a little more. All right, so this is 4:39 p.m. on a Thursday. It's pretty early. I guess he's been day drinking again, I'm guessing. On arrival, officers spoke to the caller, who stated he looked out his window and observed neighbor pointing his finger in the shape of a gun at a dog that was outside. Caller stated he came outside and asked neighbor why he was pointing at the dog, and he replied, "I'm gonna ask your dog," and continue to walk home. Caller continued to state that at no time a weapon was displayed. Officers went to the neighbor's house and spoke to him. He said he was walking down the street when the caller's dog started barking. He did point at the dog as it was the dog, but denied stating that he was to ask the dog. So he denied he said that. He walked past the caller's house, came out and started yelling at me, "Are you going to ask my dog?" Stating he asked the caller what was he going to do to use to ask the dog, and continue to walk home. So again, no arrest, just starting shit with people because a dog was barking at him. I mean, this is a guy, he can't even deal with a barking dog. Come on, man. What an idiot. What a clown. This is 2024. This is recent. Imagine doing that to your neighbor because their dog's barking at you when you walk by. Who gives a shit? Guy's such a loser. All right, here's another one. August 30th, 2024. This one's at 8:43 p.m. Back to the Friday nights. You can tell he likes to get it on Friday nights. Stewart and Victorian responded to a radio call for a person with a knife at Boston Public Library. So the cops are alerted multiple people are fighting. There's a knife. Males are screaming. Someone is claiming there's someone trying to stab them. The cops detained the suspect, later identified as blanked out, and while conducting a frisk, they retrieved a knife from the suspect's pocket. An inquiry revealed the suspect had 2 warrants outside of Boston District Court. The suspect was placed under arrest. So this is one where, again, it looks like the victim might even be Joe Warren. I'm not sure. But it looks like the victim actually might have instigated this incident with someone who is a, scary individual. And the victim was heavily intoxicated and belligerent. The victim was incoherent and kept talking about multiple different topics. The victim was also berating the officers and was not willing to cooperate. And the witnesses, the officers, and the Boston Public Library security stated they witnessed the victim agitating the suspect. Do you see what's going on here? The security team stated that they overheard the victim yelling the N-word and the suspect and stating that he had a gun. The security stated they then observed the suspect as well 2 others. So basically, the victim goaded this intoxicated, it seems like black person, to a fight and call him the N-word. Who do you think that is? Sounds like Joe Warren again, right? Starting shit with people. Sometimes the cops consider him the victim. Sometimes they consider him the perpetrator. But this is an ongoing pattern over and over and over again with this guy in the city of Boston. I wonder if in other towns, and maybe we'll find something about him in Cambridge or Quincy. I'm just wondering if we should do FOIAs in other towns too. This is just from Boston. March 5th, 2022 at about 10:49 on a Saturday. So again, Saturday night. He likes to go out Friday and Saturday nights about 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. hour. Joe Warren's out there. What's he doing now? They responded a radio call for a pedestrian struck at the intersection of Boston Street and Ellery Street, South Boston. Upon arrival, they were attending Boston Fire Department attending to a male who was later identified as Joseph Warren. So this time he does get identified. Warren had an injury to his head above his left eye. It was determined that Warren was operating a bicycle. This is classic. When he crashed into a parked and unoccupied motor vehicle. The crash caused damage to the driver's side brake light. He broke. Oh, this is classic. This is unbelievable. This is like DePietro. He broke the taillight. He broke the taillight with a bicycle. He broke a taillight with a bicycle. An unoccupied parked bicycle he ran into. He broke the rear quarter panel of the motor vehicle as well. I mean, this is, and he was drunk. Warren was extremely belligerent. Do you notice the pattern here? He's always belligerent and he's usually drunk. This time he was visually intoxicated again. Due to his injury and intoxication, Boston EMS ambulance made the decision to force Warren to be transported to get further medical evaluation. A lot of ambulances, when Joe Warren's around, a lot of violence, a lot of fights, a lot of drunkenness, and a lot of ambulances over and over again. And they seized his bicycle. I mean, this is all right, this is just a FOIA request that someone asked on it. And these are his booking sheets. So these are the times that he's been actually in Suffolk County Jail with a mugshot. This first one is January 20th, 2011. And again, this guy's 6'2", 200 pounds, blue eyes, in cell. I mean, that's the funniest thing of all. You think, most women are attracted to a man that's 6'2", right? Who's got blue eyes. This guy does seem, and his occupation is listed as a waiter. Again, he says 3 commitments. You figure out what that means. This guy has issues with women. Women don't like him. He doesn't like them. And he also has issues with minorities, especially. And this is, again, October 18th, 2020, 12. Another booking at Suffolk County Jail. And that's it. That's my Joe Warren file for today. You see why people who are witnesses, especially women who are witnesses, women who are jurors, would be afraid of this man. He is unhinged and he's violent. And he's not afraid. He has no moral issue with taking a bike lock and whacking someone on the back of the head with it and causing them to get taken away by ambulance. And after doing that, he took no stock of it. He hasn't corrected his ways. He's proud of that shit. He brags about it on social media. I've done some stupid things in my life, gotten in trouble, but I've always come away with, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to learn from my mistakes. This guy never did. He just continues to do it over and over again. And he's the victim. He's the tough guy. And this is what Michael Morrissey and Hank Brennan and the Mass State Police have protected and cultivated. There's a reason why Joe Warren's getting more and more unhinged than all these other folks, because they felt that they are protected. And I think Joe Warren has finally realized, maybe today, I'm not sure because he's that dumb. But even the anti-Karen Reed people don't support you, Joe. You got $25 donation. I had a civil suit, didn't tell anybody what it was about, posted a plea, a civil suit, not a criminal, a civil suit. And within an hour had thousands of dollars raised. You got $25 after what, 24 hours? Nobody is supporting you, Joe. So maybe it's time for you to flip and talk about who told you to do this, Joe? What's in your emails? Did Kate Peters put you up to this? Did Kate Peters tell you that Michael Morrissey would help you out? What's going on? Why don't you start talking, Joe Warren? Yeah, they are. Got a lot of mental health issues, no doubt about it. And I have sympathy for that, but he's dangerous. And the reason why I'm going to keep talking about it, who is Joe Warren? He is the biggest troll around. He's a guy who's been harassing all of us for years now, and especially lately, witnesses and jurors. And most of them are women. And they have good reason to be afraid of this man. And it's time for these Boston media journalists to note it. You know, you keep bringing up Aiden Carney, witness intimidation. Why don't you talk about Joe Warren in witness intimidation of the witnesses? And he supports Michael Morrissey. And Michael Morrissey seems to support this guy. Has Michael Morrissey ever said, or Hank Brennan ever called out Joe Warren? Will they? Will they call him out now that he's up for an indictment, an arraignment on August 4th? Are they going to call him out? And that's a good question. Why isn't he in jail already? Someone that would take a bike lock to somebody's back of their head and then still be proud about it on social media. Yeah, this is actual witness intimidation. Someone that's been physically violent with people over and over again, who has a criminal record for it. Imagine if Aiden had a rap sheet like this guy. Imagine if it was Aiden Carney that had all these. What would NBC Boston and all these other networks be doing with that? Or CBS or but none of them want to they need to start covering this. I'm telling you. And I'm not picking on any specific outlets. I got to say, like, I think NBC Boston and Boston 25 have been the best coverage on this. I also think at times Christina Rex has done a good job. I just want to see them cover this more. They need to start covering what's actually going on. Go interview the jurors about it. Go, you know who they are. Some of them have been talking to the media. Ask them about the jury intimidation. Ask them about Joe Warren. Ask them, are they afraid of Joe Warren? It's not too hard. This guy, if I was a female, if I was a woman, I would be scared, especially if he's coming after me, right? And he's got targets. I mean, you saw what he was posting, right, every day about certain jurors and certain witnesses. And some of these are witnesses in the Aiden Carney case. And this is the guy who, I had some conversations with Joe Warren at one point. I wanted to see what he was about. And he was trying to get me to back off on Jennifer McCabe and them. He was trying to he kept coming at me like, oh, you got to make this statement. And he's in cahoot with that other group of witnesses, right? So he's doing witness intimidation for witnesses against other witnesses and jurors. That's how crazy this has gotten. Christine Mitchell said €2. It's like Mike JW is not a man; he is a mouse. It's a clown. It's a clown. All right, you know what I want to do? I want to watch a little bit of the Buchanan, the Brian Walsh stuff. This happened like a month ago. I never got to watch it. I'm just gonna play some of it, take a quick break, but come back. We'll watch it together to end the show here. It's like an hour. I just want to watch this stuff because I feel like what's going on in the Brian Walsh case is concerning because it's the same cast of characters screwing up again. And I want to contrast with what they did with Brian Walsh with what they did with Karen Reed because I think some things they did actually do differently, which you're going to see the stark difference where they divide people and they don't interview them together, for example. But I really haven't seen all the Buchanan testimony. I've only seen bits and pieces and what other people have reviewed about it. So I figured we could watch this to end the show tonight. Or today, actually. And maybe I'll check out a couple of your comments. Has Yuri been demoted? I haven't seen that he's been demoted. All I've seen that he lost a couple vacation days, unless that's new info. And you know what else I want to do right now, too? One second. Let me. Here we go. I like when I don't have guests to offer, especially to my regular viewers and like Mexico City. He's a great caller and callers. I like to get them up on shows that aren't as busy. And I do have some time today. It's we have 2,600 people, so we still got quite a few people watching. If you do want to jump on the stream, especially if you have any comments about pretty much anything, but especially this jury intimidator, the Joe Warren stuff. I just posted the StreamYard link in the chat. I'm going to pin it to the top right now. So if you do want to call in, you can do that too. We'll definitely take calls. But I am going to take a quick, just a quick bathroom break. Check on my doggy, probably take him out for a couple minutes. And then I'll come back and I'll bring up any calls who are here. And I'm just going to play a little video in the meantime. And we'll come back and watch that video together as well. So I'm not leaving. I'm just taking a quick break. So let's bring that up. And if you do want to call, it is pinned at the top of the chat right now. Maybe you want to talk about Turtle Boy's interview last night too. I watched a little bit of it. What I loved the quote that everyone's talking about today, which was, I don't get nervous, I make other people nervous. I could feel that, because before I might be someone who would get nervous. Now I don't. Now I don't get nervous at all. Now I'm like, they should be worried about us. You know what I'm saying? So I feel the same way, actually. Same way as Jackson. Maybe not in the same way, not in the legal sense, but just in life. I'm on the wrong video. I'm replaying myself. How funny is that? Oh, man. I'm just too chill today. I love it. It's the way it should be. All right, we're going to play a little of this. If you do want to call in, you can jump on now and just hang out in the green room, and I'll bring you back up when I come back. But I'd love to hear from anybody, especially if you want to speak up or maybe speak to anything you have to say to some of the victims of this bullshit right now who are worried about a creep like Joe Warren out there, some of the jurors and the witnesses. All right, let's play this, and then I'll come back, and maybe I'll take a call or two if you're around.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, could you state your name and spell your first and last name, please? Yes, sir. My name is Yuri Buchanik, spelled Y-U-R-I-Y, last of B-U-K-H-E-N-I-K. Where do you work, sir? I work for the Massachusetts State Police, currently assigned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. How long have you been with Massachusetts State Police? I graduated the academy March of 2012. And how long have you been attached to the detectives unit with the District Attorney's Office? 10 years. And what is your current rank? I'm a sergeant. And how long have you been a sergeant within that unit? Since December of 2021. So I'm going to ask some questions now about January 5th of 2023, Thursday. That day, did you have the opportunity to be dispatched to Cohasset? Yes. Why were you dispatched to Cohasset? Cohasset police detectives reached out to our office requesting assistance in investigating a missing person case. What was the name of the person you were asked to help find? The person's name was Walsh.
About what time did you get to Cohasset PD that day?
It was in the late afternoon. I would say approximately 4:45 or so.
And did anyone else besides you, that's a member of the State Police Detectives Unit with the Norfolk District Attorney's Office, respond to Cohasset that evening?
Yes,
Who else?
Trooper DeChico.
And once Trooper DeChico and you were at the Cohasset PD, who did you have the opportunity to speak with?
I spoke with Detective Harrison Schmidt of Cohasset PD.
And what was the purpose of this meeting with Detective Schmidt?
He gave us an update on his investigation into the missing person, shared the details of that he's learned since he was involved.
Did you have the opportunity to review anything in addition to having the conversation with Detective Schmidt?
Yes, I was able to review an audio recording of Brian Walsh's interview.
And after having this meeting and reviewing the recording, what did you have the opportunity to do next in your investigation?
After doing the review of the recording and being updated on all the information that Cohasset PD had at the time, myself, Trooper DeChico, Detective Schmidt, Detective Lieutenant Lopes, and Sergeant Hunt proceeded to 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in Cohasset.
About what time did all of you arrive at that address?
I believe it was like 6:30 p.m.
And when you arrived, was anyone leaving?
Yes, there was a female party leaving as we came up to the door.
And do you understand what her relationship was to the family?
I do know, yes.
What is it?
She was the babysitter for the 3 juvenile children.
And after seeing this woman leave the residence, did you discover who else was in the residence at this time?
Yes.
Who?
Within the residence, we were able to meet with Brian Walsh, his mother, Diana Walsh, and there was 3 juvenile children inside as well.
Now, in that evening, did you have the opportunity to conduct an interview with anyone at the Walsh residence?
Yes, I did.
Who did you initially get the chance to speak with?
Initially, I spoke with Diana Walsh.
And Diana Walsh is Mr. Brian Walsh's mother, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Where was your conversation with Diana Walsh?
My conversation was in the living room area where the couches were situated. There's also a fireplace there. It is right off the kitchen area, separating the dining room area by a staircase set and a wall, I believe.
And was there anyone with you to help conduct this interview?
Yes, Detective Lieutenant Lopes of Cohasset PD was present with me.
Where were the other officers at this point in time that arrived with you?
The other officers were speaking with Brian Walsh in the dining room area portion of the home.
And was anyone else with Mr. Walsh besides those officers, if you know?
Just the 3 officers that arrived.
Where were the children when you initially had the opportunity to speak with Diana Walsh?
Upon her request, the children went upstairs in the main portion of the home to the 2nd floor.
Now, can you explain how the initial conversation, what occurred during your initial conversation with the defendant's mother?
Yes. As we sat down, Diana was asked to provide her date of birth and a phone number. She initially ignored my request and was texting on her phone. A follow-up request was also momentarily not addressed or not answered. She then advised us that she had utmost respect for what we do, but she only has 1 son, and she was very adamant in helping find Anna.
Did she say what she was doing as far as trying to find Anna?
Yes, she stated that she had Googled, researched a top PI firm, private investigation firm in the DC area, and she had been communicating with the owner / CEO of the company.
And did she give you any contact information for that person?
Yes, she provided both a business line and a private cell phone number for the individual.
Now, did she have the opportunity in this, during this conversation, did she tell you what had occurred with her son's cell phone as far as January 1 and January 2nd?
Yes, during this conversation, she advised us that on January 2nd, Brian Walsh showed up at her home in Swampscott and advised her that his phone was missing and that he needed to use her device to communicate or try to reach Anna.
And did she show you anything from her phone during this part of the conversation?
Yes, she showed me her call logs as well as text message communications that were documented on her device.
And when you saw this, did you see the names of any of, not asking the specific name, but did you see the names of anyone in the family?
Yes, there was a name associated with a juvenile child, the eldest, that was documented as a missed call.
And did you ask her about whose phone number that would be?
Yes, I did.
And what did she explain to you?
She indicated it was the 6-year-old's phone number as saved with the name in her device, and that she had purchased all the three of the juvenile children, cell phones, Apple AirTags, and iPads.
How long were you speaking with Diana Walsh before any of the children returned?
I would estimate it 15 minutes or so.
And which child did you wish to speak to?
The oldest 6-year-old child.
And was that one of the children that returned at this point in time?
Yes, it was.
And did you have the opportunity to speak to the oldest child?
Yes, I did.
Can you explain to us what occurred as far as that conversation?
Initially, when the child presented to our presence, myself and Detective Lieutenant Lopes, asked him if he was willing to have us ask him some questions. He shook his head in the affirmative without giving me a verbal response. Diana, at that point, asked him to sit on her lap while we held the conversation. And we proceeded to ask him some questions.
And what did the oldest child tell you about about what he remembers as the last time he saw his mother, Anna Walsh?
What the child stated was that the last time he saw his mother was surrounded around the events of him hearing a noise, waking up, coming downstairs, and seeing her on the couch underneath his blanket, which he left in the room overnight. She was dressed in a set of pink pajamas with red hearts. And as he was walking by the kitchen island, he saw his iPad. He picked up the iPad, recognized that it was malfunctioning.
I want to acknowledge this post right here from Like the Room. It says, I loathe Joe Warren, but if you support this based on his single text, you are supporting Turtle Boy going to jail. I'm not sure what single text you're referring to. That's all I'm going to say. And it's not even whether I support him being charged. I'm just supporting the victims. I'm supporting the jurors and the witnesses to feel safe. And especially from somebody like this. This is not Turtle Boy. This isn't Turtle Boy doing journalism. This is somebody that is not a journalist. This is someone that has been violent and has scared the crap out of a lot of females. I'm just going to put it, that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not going to share everything I know about this because there's a lot of victims related to this guy. Is basically what I'm saying. So, and we'll see what happens. And I think it's unfortunate. I wish it didn't come to this. And I don't want to see the witness intimidation law supported. I feel what you're saying. I do. But I think we need to wait and see. I think we need to wait and see. And I also say, don't be surprised if legitimately these witnesses have a reason to be afraid of some of these people. And especially someone like Joe Warren, who has a violent history documented. Turtle Boy has no violence in his history. None. So I think that's the big difference here. Are we really talking about a real threat? So we'll see what happens. I'm reporting on it though. We have someone who's been waiting backstage here. It looks like she's trying to get ready. Birdie, are you ready for us? Yes. When you stop moving around, I'll bring you up. How's that? Give me the thumbs up when you're set to go, and I'll take your call. Yeah, give you another second. Yeah, and I think that's it. No, I don't think there's a comparison. I don't. You know, but it's funny though that Joe Warren today, his plea sounds a lot like what Turtle Boy's plea is, right? They're coming after me. Like it's funny. Like he basically, after crapping on Turtle Boy for the last 2 years, now he's basically pretending he's Turtle Boy. Oh, it is karma. Birdie, let's bring up Birdie and see what she's got to say today. Birdie, what do you got for us? What do you think?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so mine might be a little bit off topic. Um, so I like to watch the First Amendment community, the First Amendment auditors,
Yes.
and I'm just kind of surprised that there hasn't been more. I know there's been a couple like Tommy from Mass Accountability and that guy, I can't remember his name, that was busted for walking through the zone. It was like
Wow.
in the early days.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Bow. And but I'm just wondering if any of the others who are in that area, like Josh Abrams and them, are any of them going to be turn out for Turtle Boy? Because it's all First Amendment stuff. And I'm just surprised that I haven't seen more comments about it. Now, there have been comments like Lackluster and I believe James Freeman each did something about it, but I'm just wondering, like more of the local guys, if they're gonna be there, because I feel like they should be, because Turtle Boy is doing a lot for the First Amendment.
Yeah. No,
Anyway,
I
that's all
mean,
I had.
yeah. I'm whatever on those folks. A lot of them just hate cops. Let's just be honest.
I
And
know,
I
and
think
I
that's one of
get
the
it.
reasons why they're not so supportive of Turtle Boy, because he's kind of like a back to blue guy who
Well,
has exposed a lot of police misconduct. So
Long Island Audit has a real good relationship with cops.
yeah.
I mean, and I know there are some that are. I I work for the government, so I'm kind of sensitive to it because I want to make sure where I work, our agency is on the up and up. But and see, that's how I learned about mass hold mafia was through the
Yeah, I
um
understand that. Yeah, a lot of
right,
people
right,
find out through that way. Let me ask you
right.
another question, Bertie.
Uh-huh.
What do you think about the charges against Joe Warren? Do you think they're warranted? Do you think it's karma?
He
Do you
sounds
think it's
dangerous.
not
I
good for
mean,
Turtle Boy, or what do you think?
the charges against Joe or the charges against Turtle Boy? Which ones?
Joe, let's just handle those first.
Joe, he sounds dangerous. He sounds dangerous. And I'm wondering if he's like the type of troll that trolls some of the auditors that, because I know there's a lot of trolling between, on the First Amendment auditor stuff. I don't get into all that. I just happen to, it just made me wonder if that's some of the trolling that goes on people who have that sort of thing. Like does Long Island Audit or Josh Abrams see that guy?
All right. And do you think it hurts because some people, like this comment that I posted up earlier, felt like that if anyone supports charges against Joe, you're undercutting Turtle Boy
If
because
you
it
support,
just
if you, Joe sounds dangerous. I mean, maybe I
the
didn't listen
difference,
to
right?
it. Yeah. I mean, Turtle Boy is not dangerous. No,
Exactly.
no,
I think
he's
there's a
not.
big difference here.
Yes, a huge
Mm.
difference. Turtle Boy has a group of people after him. I mean, it's in a different county anyway, isn't it? The legal system that's going after Joe, isn't that in whatever county?
Yeah, it's in
It's not
Bristol
right.
County, different one.
Right. So, I mean, we had some corruption in our area years ago. It made a movie. Renee Zellweger, whatever her name is, played the main character. It took another county to bring this woman down because our county was so corrupt and backwoods. And somebody went to prison for 3 years, got a life sentence, but was able to get another trial, fortunately, because he had the best legal defense in St. Louis. Oh, shoot. I didn't mean to say where I was. Sorry.
I got one more question for you.
Yeah.
Quick one. Who's most likely now to take down their social media and lock it down like Joe
Oh,
Warren did
man.
today?
I don't know that. I don't know. I'd just be making a guess. I mean, I don't even know all the names on there, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean,
All right.
go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. All right. Appreciate your call. Thank you
Of
for calling
course.
in
Thank
today,
you.
Bertie. Have a great day. Enjoy your
Yep, you
Sunday.
too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. If anyone else wants to call in about these trolls, it's pinned at the top of the chat in StreamYard. I will take your calls today. But let's play some more of this Bukkake stuff. Buchanan. And I'll check in on the poll too. I'll see how you guys are voting on the poll. Earlier, Kate Peter was winning. I'm guessing she's still
Broken, not
winning.
working properly, and he requested that his mom, Anna, fix the iPad for him. Once she fixed the iPad, he indicated that Anna went upstairs and changed into her real clothes, returning back downstairs, holding a brown duffel bag, approximately 2 feet in length, and a purse, which he gestured to her wearing on her shoulder. He then stated that her taxi was here. He told her, "I love you." She responded, "I love you more." And she walked out the door to her ride. When asked if he saw the vehicle, saw the headlights for the vehicle, or saw her get into the vehicle, he stated he did not. Those are strictly his speculations. Obviously, he didn't use the word speculation, but.
And how did the conversation end with the oldest child?
I had a question for him asking, does he know where his mom, before I was able to finish that question, Diana became animated with her arms since he was sitting on her lap, flailing her arms in the air. I stopped abruptly, being interrupted by her gesture. She finished the question for me, stating cell phone. The child never answered my intended question, which was if he knew where his mom was, nor the question that Diana finished. He strictly said that mom wanted him to move to DC to be with her. He abruptly got up off of Diana's lap and ran into a different portion of the home.
And did you have any further conversation with the oldest child?
Yes, I did.
And what was that, sir?
At one point, a little bit later on, he returned to the area where myself and Detective Lopes was standing. He opened the door slightly, just wide enough to the basement that he could fit through. He took a step onto the first step going down into the basement.
On when this video that I'm airing right now, when it took place, it was May 19th. So a little more than a month ago.
Back at me, extended his arm, and I told him that he shouldn't go into the basement on his own, realizing there were child locks on the door. Then Diana also opened the door all the way and grabbed his hand and told him not to go down there.
Did any of the children ever give you anything that night?
Yes.
What did they give you?
The eldest 6-year-old boy gave me a little art piece that he rendered.
Now, how long were you in the home speaking to the oldest child and Diana Walsh?
I would estimate it to be 45 minutes, maybe more. It was a lengthy conversation in our presence in the home.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant, we left off, I believe, the conversation had come to an end with Diana Walsh and the oldest child. What did you do at the house after that?
I waited for the other officers to finish searching the home for the missing individual, to include the attic.
Why was the attic significant to you?
It had not been searched, and in my experience with other cases,
Absolutely think he did it. He's got motive. I mean, if you look into the art theft that he did earlier, and his wife working in DC, she was going to leave him, no question about it. And the text, I mean, he did it. There's no question he did it. The question is he going to get away with it because these idiots screwed up again? That's the real question. And why are we putting up with this? Where someone who murders their wife, the mother of their children, might get away with it because the Mass State Police are so shady and so bad at their job. That's what this is about. And this is why, no matter if you cared about Karen Reed or not, you should be infuriated by what's been going on with the Mass State Police here and this DA office. Because this affects much more than just Karen Reed. That's why we're playing this right now. To remind people, this guy's still on the job, and they're still screwing up cases that matter.
we have had.
Not an OUI. Someone that butchered the wife of his children. Someone who was an art con, who just ripped somebody off. This guy has no morals. Brian Walsh, he didn't care. He stole money, stole the way. If you read what he did with that art hoax fraud thing he did, this guy's a total dirtbag.
Located individuals in crawl spaces and attics.
What types of cases are those, sir?
Death investigations.
And more specific, though, when you found people in crawl spaces like that, have they been as a result of murder or how so?
They were suicides.
What did you do as far as examining the outside of the home?
I proceeded outside, checked the yard, the property, to include trash cans, looking for honest.
We're also taking calls today. We've got another caller in the green room. So if you want to jump on, you got something to say specifically about any of what we covered today, especially the witnesses and the jurors and this Joe Warren stuff, definitely jump on. I have law girls, not attorneys here. Believe it. We'll find out. But they're in the green room right now. They need to turn on their microphone. I think they just did. And then we'll bring them up.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you good? How
I
you
was
doing?
actually I was brushing my teeth because I'm expecting the FBI. Wait, did I say that right?
Why
How's
did
it
you do
going
something?
today?
Why would the FBI be coming at you?
I don't know, but that's, it's with Jen McCabe. She's got to brush her teeth before the FBI comes in to talk to her. So, you
You're
always got
not
to be
Jennifer
prepared.
McCabe, though. You're her sister or something, right?
I'm her. Yeah, I'm my sister. I love that. I told my daughter that. I told the little law girl that. I said, if the FBI ever comes to my house, I'm going to say, hey, get away. I'm not me. I'm my sister.
Don't do that. That's a crime. I mean,
Is it?
yeah, you don't lie to law enforcement ever.
Yeah. No,
I mean, if I was
no,
Jennifer McCabe, I'd still be worried about that. You know what
it
I
was
mean?
just,
Like,
it was so ridiculous. The
you
whole thing
don't
is so
lie to law
ridiculous.
enforcement. That's why they say don't say anything. If you,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, remain silent is probably the best option in most cases with law enforcement. And
Yeah, get
even
an
if you haven't done anything
attorney.
wrong, but definitely
Yeah.
don't lie. Don't lie. It's
Yeah,
better
don't
just to
lie.
say nothing.
No. Yeah, the problem is you have to worry about your words being twisted, so
That's
that's
it.
why they say get an attorney, and that's, I'm a paralegal, so that's my, anybody ask me any law advice, that's why my name is Law Girls Not Attorneys. I'm not an attorney. I will
Yeah.
tell you my advice, go get an attorney, find a good one.
Yeah.
I was actually just calling in today because I wanted to talk about the victim in the new, in the Joe Warren
Joe
thing
Warren.
that, yeah. And I happen to know this person, and I just want to say, people are like, oh, this is over a text. No, there's obviously more to the story, and um, I'm sure you said that, I'm sure
Yeah,
people.
but I haven't said too
So,
much because I don't want to
no,
give
no,
out
no.
away too much about her
Yeah.
because I don't think Joe Warren even knows yet. So,
Nope.
but
Yeah.
what can you tell us about that without kind of outing this person? What can you tell
I
us
can
about the situation
I
so
can
people
tell you that the
understand?
person is scared. This is not like, this isn't like like a fake victim kind of, charge of like to be used for something. This is like, this person's terrified. They've seen this guy's rap sheet. I don't know this guy, like I don't know him from a hole in the wall, but when I look at it, it's like, okay, this is scary stuff. He's not a sane person. So it
Exactly.
wasn't a decision that this person came to lightly to seek that out. Um, nobody wants to have to, people just want to be left alone, really, you
Totally.
know. Um, so I know that they were terrified, and I try to be a support person, my daughter and I try to, be supportive in the community. That's what this community is great for. We kind of uplift each other and make sure everybody's taken care of and we're safe. And so, yeah, I just that comment just about, oh, this is over a text. It's not, like,
Right. I'm
obviously.
glad you said that. I'm glad you called in. And I got to add what I can add to this too. It's I have heard from more than one woman that is terrified by this man. So, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's a pattern where it's you know, so there you go. Like if you're a woman, you shouldn't have to deal with this guy,
right.
especially knowing he's got this documented history of violence, and he has said the worst things you can say online. Like he has made legitimate threats at people and even at their children. I mean, I've seen him post some of the most vile shit at people's kids and posting the pictures of the kids. Like he's not, this guy is out there. It's not just, typical make fun of someone trolling. This is like next level.
Yeah, and I don't see that because I don't go like I'm not as immersed into the community as some other folks are. But if anybody sees that of me or my family, please alert me to it because don't assume that I know it. Um, and I know, Mike, you've faced, issues with these people, so, they're sickos. They're sickos. And I think the community knows that. And I'm really glad that the police officer, um, took it seriously. And we live in a society now where a lot of times the police are like, hesitant to
Yeah.
charge somebody with something. Um, you know, uh, but you
Because a
can
lot of
rest
times it's
assured.
just online beef. I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
it's just like people going back and forth and they're like, I don't want to get involved in that. And I don't blame them. But
Yeah.
that, again, and that I think that points out the gravity of this situation, that the police often who are reluctant to get involved in these types of situations did on this one. And I
Right.
think that people should really consider that. Like, so yeah, I'm
Exactly.
so glad you called, Amanda. I mean, and the person that you're talking about, like you said, they're frightened. Can you give us more of an idea of like how it might affect them?
Like not being able to sleep at night. Just be like, just not, just being terrified, like terrified to be in your own home, feeling like you have to be, somewhere, like Aiden said after the thing with Lindsay, where she tried to say, where she was brought into the courtroom with the O'Keefes there, he, like, you feel like you want to be in public because maybe public is safe because there's people around, Um, so for her, like, being at home and knowing that this person is out there. And it's not like we're guessing and saying, oh, maybe he's vile. Who knows? We don't know this guy, but there's reports, there's police records.
And we just went through them. We just
You know?
he hit somebody with a bike lock, this stuff
Yeah,
over, like even sometimes he's the victim in some of the cases, but it's him starting shit with people who are
it's
either,
crazy.
drunk like he is, or he's got a history of this over and over and over again.
Yeah. And this is not a person who, like, gets into the mix with those type of people. She's not like one that is, you lie down with dog, you get up with dogs, you get
Yeah,
up with fleas. Like, they don't like run with the same pack,
yeah,
like it's
yeah.
not so yeah, it's really upsetting to see. I'm really glad that that officer took it seriously, and yeah, so we're all gonna, everybody in the community who knows her is gonna, make sure that she's safe, and she yeah, she knows how to call 911. And we're all protecting her. We're all watching out for her at all
Definitely.
your.
You tell her
Yeah.
we're behind her. If she needs anything from me, I'm here for her. Any of these witnesses or victims, definitely I am there for them. So please let her know.
Yeah, I will absolutely do that. Mike, you are a great voice. We got the chance to meet you down in the buffer zone. I think I met you once or twice before. I don't know, but you gave me a Young Jerk sticker, and it's on my laptop. So if I'm
Aw.
ever working down there, you'll see it.
Very
So
nice. I'm
yeah,
glad to
so
hear that.
yeah,
Thank you for calling,
absolutely.
Amanda.
Yeah, my pleasure. Have a great day. Thanks for doing this.
You too. Great
All right.
call.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Call again. She's awesome. That was a great call. Loved it. Perfect. A couple of comments came in that I wanted to. Someone said, "Is Warren anti-Karen Reed?" Yes, he is. Joe Warren is 100% anti-Karen Reed. At one point, he was uh, free Karen Reed. He started out free Karen Reed. He was friends with Natalie. Uh, yeah, he soured. He's been anti-Karen Reed for quite a while, and he's very supportive of Jennifer McCabe and her family. Yes, yes, he is. Here's a good comment. Joe S. says, "Hi, Mike. It's not a given that law enforcement actions in courts in Mass counties other than Norfolk are inherently fair. A lot of people are drawn to follow and support because other Mass counties have same problems." Thanks. Absolutely. No doubt about it. I know all about it. I've been covering this stuff for a long time, actually. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why we have a new Essex County DA. I was covering that stuff too. There's some stuff going on over here. And I think like what Tim Bradle says, what he said on the show, it's a lot of these suburban district attorneys. There's not as much of a spotlight. There's not as much news coverage. There's not like a big Black Lives Matter movement type thing going on, so that there's a spotlight. There's just not as much coverage or eyeballs on some of these suburban district attorneys. Cape and the Islands, perfect example. That's another one that, yeah, Bristol County has had issues. We've covered that with Eric Mack, the attorney. So again, I agree with you 100%. It's not just Norfolk County. I think Norfolk County is just the worst of them, but I think there's a lot of other issues with district attorney offices in Massachusetts, especially these suburban counties. And Bristol County is one of them that comes up a lot. So there's been some issues in Bristol County, no doubt about it. And that's what I said earlier. I hope this DA does the right thing, because if he doesn't, there's going to be a spotlight on it. You know? All right, let's get back to Buchanan, whatever you want to call him. Oh, I thought I had it up. Right? So true, Laura. Let's screw this up a little bit. Oh, it's muted. Hold on. Hold on. Muted. How the hell is it muted? Hmm. That's weird. This is not muted. Huh. So you could hear me, but you can't hear the video. Is that what's going on here? You can't hear him. Okay. Huh. Let me redo it then. That's weird because it's not muted. Could be another StreamYard issue, man. Oh, let's try this again. Hold on. Hold on.
The sender is Lynn
You hear
Beeler.
it now?
Who are the recipients?
It is addressed to Tracy Miner, and
Is it
I
still
am
muted?
CC'd on that email.
No, it was working.
What is
And I
the
can hear it
date and
perfectly,
time of the
you know,
email?
later.
The date
You can hear him
is
now.
January
Cool.
6th of 2023, and the time is 3:39 p.m.
And can you read the body of the email?
Yes, sir. Attorney Miner, as requested, the Norfolk District Attorney's Office agrees that in the investigation to Anna Walsh, any conversation between the attorney and client Brian Walsh is excluded from the search and examination of Brian Walsh's
Here we
phone
go.
and the minor child's iPad. It is further agreed that any conversation between Brian Walsh and his wife, Anna Walsh, 1 week before she was missing.
No, it's funny because I think I skipped ahead when I redid it, when I refreshed it. But this is the perfect part to get to. This is the part where they, again, the Mass State Police not following policies and procedures. They agreed with Brian Walsh's attorney to only look at the communications on the cell phone. And then they do the opposite. And now the evidence might get thrown out. This is ridiculous. This is the best, most pertinent part of this testimony here. Yeah, there it is. KBD says it was only agreed for communications between him and his wife, and they went through everything without a warrant. That's the thing, too. It wouldn't have been hard to get a warrant. Like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Right? And these are the people that wouldn't go and search in the house, but they'll search without a warrant on electronic communications after they have an agreement. I mean, this is just dumb. Really dumb.
Missing 12/25/22 and prior shall be excluded from the search and examination of Brian Walsh's phone and the minor child's iPad. Should you have any questions, please contact me, Lynn Beelan, First Assistant District Attorney, Norfolk County, and the phone number.
And just for the record, when you say minor child, you are putting that in there opposed to reading the child's name.
Yes, sir.
Now, was there a response to that email that's in the chain?
Yes, there is.
Can you read the response, sir?
The response is, we consent to all communications on or after 12/25. If you want to go back further than that, I will have to get you a list of attorneys, as he has used a bunch of them.
And is there a subsequent response to that?
Yes, there is.
And can you read that into the record?
That date is fine, thank you.
And that was sent from whom?
That was sent from Lynn Beelan.
Did you receive any further email communication from Attorney First Assistant Beeland and Minor after that third entry into the email chain?
I have not known.
Now, once that was done, those emails had been exchanged. What did you do as far as trying to get the iPads or trying to get the devices?
I didn't do anything about trying to get the devices.
Why didn't you go get them?
I was tasked with traveling out of state, and I was not going to be present.
Where were you supposed to go as a result of traveling out of state?
I was traveling to Washington, D.C.
Why were you going to Washington, D.C.?
The information we had at the time and the multiple reports of Anna coming from D.C., living in D.C., and having traveled back to D.C., based on my conversation with Diana Walsh, I traveled to D.C. to go find Anna.
Did you meet up with anyone in law enforcement to help you in D.C.?
Yes.
Who?
It was Detective Lieutenant Lopes and two troopers from another unit on the state police.
Now, So after the email exchange comes through, who do you inform that you've now received permission from Attorney Minor?
I informed Lieutenant Fanning.
And who is Lieutenant Fanning in the chain of command of the detectives unit?
He was the executive officer at the time in the unit.
And where were you when you informed Lieutenant Fanning?
I was in the command post.
And where was the command post located?
It was located a short distance down the street from 516 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in a shopping plaza parking lot behind the stores.
Now, when you informed Lieutenant Fanning, were you talking to him in person, or was this over the phone, or whatnot?
It was in person.
So at the command post on the late afternoon of Friday, January 6th, how many state troopers were in and around this area at this point in time?
There were dozens and dozens.
And so are you aware of who collected the devices from Brian Walsh on January 6th?
I am not aware now.
So you didn't go to collect the devices?
No, I did not.
When did you return from Washington, D.C.?
It was during the late evening hours of January 8th. It was Sunday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken on the date.
And did you have any further conversation with Attorney Minor about the devices after the phone calls and the emails?
No, I did not.
So after the email chain is done, do you have any further phone calls?
No,
And to be specific, with Attorney Minor?
no.
And going back to the second phone call, you told Attorney Minor that you wanted to look at the iPad?
Yes.
And can you just tell us what you told her about wanting to look at the iPad?
The conversation about the extractions of full data extraction was in reference to the two cell phones. We went into detail about that. Once she consented to those cell phones, I asked if we could also do the same with the iPad.
Was there any concerns about communications on the iPad?
No, there was not.
Did you explain to her whose iPad it was?
Yes, I did.
And when you explained to her, who did you tell was the user of the iPad?
I told her that based on my understanding, it was the 6-year-old juvenile.
And did you tell her did you tell her anything further about the use of the iPad and why you were looking at it?
No, I did not.
One moment, Your Honor.
Yes?
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ross?
Good afternoon, sir.
On direct examination, you described your interaction with Diane Walsh.
Yes, sir.
And so you were involved in interviewing Diana Walsh along with the 6-year-old son.
At portions of it, yes.
When you say portions of it, what portions?
The 6-year-old was not present during the entire interview with Diana.
But you were present for the entire interview with Diana Walsh.
I was.
You didn't have any involvement in the interview of Mr. Walsh on January 4th.
No, not the official interview. I just introduced myself and met him. Brief communication verbally, not a formal interview.
Did you arrive at the home at the same time with the other officers who eventually did conduct an interview with Mr. Walsh on January 5th?
If I'm not mistaken, we all arrived together, yes, sir.
So you were sitting, is it fair to say that during these two different interviews, you were in different rooms?
Yes, we were separated. The two rooms are separated by the stairwell or staircase and a wall, I believe, in the home. That's right in the middle of the building. But there's a open space for the front and the rear through the kitchen.
It's fair to say then that there were times during these interviews that you could hear people asking Mr. Walsh questions, correct?
To be accurate, because we were having our own conversation, I merely heard voices. I could not hear the specifics of their conversation or who was speaking.
And it's entirely accurate, isn't it, to say that the entire time that you talked to Diane Walsh, that Mr. Walsh, Mr. Brian Walsh, he was never present for any of that, correct?
With our conversation, sir? No, he was not.
So when you were asked all these questions on direct examination, and you were describing the behaviors of Diane Walsh as you interpreted them, it's fair to say that Mr. Walsh had nothing to do with any of those behaviors of Diane Walsh that you were observing.
Are you asking if he was influencing her behavior?
Yeah.
I could not suggest that, no.
And I mean, she is the grandmother of this young, the 6-year-old that you were also talking to, right?
That's my understanding, yes, sir.
And this 6-year-old was telling you, in his own words, what he remembered about seeing his mother, right?
Yes, the information of his recollection was in his own words.
And when you were asked questions on direct examination about the iPad fixing it, you used the word manipulation, right?
That is a term I use, yes.
Okay. You don't have any specific knowledge about what you characterized as the manipulation of the iPad.
The knowledge I have is that I was told she fixed the device for him. Diana said that the button was broken. Those types of manipulations of the device, in my training experience, would be logged within the database on the device.
But based on that information that you just told the court, when Diane Walsh mentioned a button, what button was it?
She didn't specify.
Okay. And it's fair to say that you didn't make any effort to see if the button was now working or whatever button she was referring to was working, correct?
Correct. I did not see, no.
So you really don't know, do you, at the time, that the iPad was in fact not working, or if it just didn't come on? You really don't know. You're just going on the fact that Diane Walsh said something about a button wasn't working.
It was the child's information that he passed along to us, and what Diana shared as well.
And the only question that you testified to, that you asked Diana Walsh, that you asked the 6-year-old, was something to the effect, do you know where your mother is, or do you know where your mother went? That was when Diane Walsh interjected and made a comment, correct?
That specific question, she interrupted my full question, so I could not ask the full question. The question was interrupted.
Now, it's fair to say that you haven't been trained in interviewing young juvenile children, correct?
I don't have specific training for young juvenile children, but I am trained in interviews and interrogations.
Right, but you would agree that there are people that are trained specifically to interview young children, correct?
I am aware that there are specialists that conduct SANE interviews.
And you are aware of the fact that eventually on January 5th, there was an agreement to have the young child, the 6-year-old, interviewed by a trained specialist, correct?
I'm not certain of the date when the agreement happened.
Which is coming in on this. This is for the Brian Walsh murder case. He murdered his wife, allegedly, mother of his children. And this is Yuri Buchanan on the stand on a hearing. about the evidence, about how they're looking at evidence that they shouldn't have been looking at under agreement and other things. Notice his demeanor. Somebody noted that how different his demeanor is here compared to when he was on the stand for Karen Reed.
But I am aware that
Anyone else too who's just checking in too, pinned at the top of the YouTube chat is our link to StreamYard. If you want to jump in on this and comment on anything, Buchanan or especially Joe Warren and these trolls finding out they effed around and now they're finding out he's got criminal charges against him. He's got no fundraising going on. He got $25 on his GoFundMe. He locked down his account. A lot of these other trolls should be worried as well. If you want to call in, StreamYard link right there, top of the chat.
there was an agreement to do something like that along those lines.
And that would be done by someone in Norfolk, correct? In fact, I think the office that they use is in Norwalk, correct? Do you know that?
I am not aware of the location outside of Foxborough, but I could be wrong.
And you would agree, wouldn't you, that in your experience, it's not unusual, is it, for a parent or grandparent to protect their child or grandchild from certain questions that they think may upset them?
No, I wouldn't say that it's unusual that a child or a parent or a grandparent would do something like that. No.
All right. If I understand your direct examination and some of your questions, and please correct me if I'm wrong. You did or you did not have any conversation with Assistant District Attorney Lynn Beal regarding any supposed agreement?
I don't have a memory of talking to Lynn Beal on the phone about the agreement.
And it's fair to say that you've been asked by the Commonwealth in this case to search your records, your emails, whatever, for any such evidence of communicating with Assistant District Attorney Lynn Beal regarding this agreement. Correct?
I have been asked, yes.
And you conducted that search and you found nothing.
Conversations over the phone. I don't have a conversation over the phone specifically in reference to the agreement.
So
But the email is produced. I'm CC'd on it.
Right, but you don't know about the content of any conversation between Assistant District Attorney Lynn Beal and Attorney Tracy Minor regarding that agreement.
I do not know. No.
And it's fair to say that you never attempted to contact Lynn Beal to make sure that you understood what the parameters were of any agreement, did you?
I did not contact Lynn Beal, and the email spoke for itself.
Well, you've testified here today that, for instance, you just answered a question on direct examination, that the iPad had no limitations put on, like the search of the iPhone, correct?
Rephrase the question.
Were there any limitations put on any search of the iPad?
Question here, did I miss something? Because as far as I know, Yuri Buchanan is still at the Norfolk County DA's office. It was Michael Proctor who lost his job. It was Brian Tully who was reassigned. But as far as I know, Buchanan, the only thing he got was a couple loss of vacation days. Unless something has happened since his testimony that I've missed, I'd love to know that if something else happened. But I mean, I feel like he should be demoted and reassigned after his testimony at the latest Karen Reed trial. But I haven't heard that. Maybe I missed something. Yeah, I'm hearing that rumor a lot. Oh, Turtle Boy said something about it? See, I didn't hear that. If he said something about it, I would think there may be something to it. Well, if Aiden's gonna find out, I'm sure we'll know one way or the other pretty soon. That's interesting. That's interesting. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised, especially after the Karen retrial, after his testimony, and especially with all this going on with the Brian Walsh stuff. Geez, you think he should be demoted? You think he should be reassigned, put to on desk duty? Yeah. I actually would not be surprised on that. I just would love to see it confirmed. That would be amazing to find out. And if Turtle Boy's hearing that and speaking on it, he must have an inkling. He must have an inkling of something.
Those search limitations were included in the email, and it referenced all devices that we were going to get on consent.
Now, you've also told us that your discussions with Attorney Tracy Minor involved discussing
That makes sense.
seizing cell phones, correct?
Yes, there were 2 cell phones, as I mentioned prior, and the iPad that we were aware of.
And regarding the 2 cell phones, we can all agree that one of them was purportedly Mr. Walsh's personal cell phone, and the other cell phone was the one in the Volvo that was attributed to the young 6-year-old, correct?
Yes, sir.
There is no reference in the email that you've referred to today to a second cell phone, is there?
I'd have to take a look at the email, but my understanding through our communications, myself and Tracy Minor, were for 2 cell phones and the 6-year-old's iPad.
Well, I understand that's your memory. I'm asking you that with regards to the email.
It's funny too, because on our interview with Juna Perkins, she basically said the same, that she would reassign him and move him out. So I'm wondering if it happened after that interview. I wonder if Michael Morrissey saw, oh my God, this is becoming a campaign issue against me. Now I need to rehome him. I'd love to know if that did happen and when and why. It'll be interesting to find out. I guess Aiden has a source, but he can't confirm it yet 100%. So we'll see. I would not be surprised if they did rehome him. I'd love to know why and when, because there's so many reasons they could have rehomed him.
Introduced into evidence, there's no reference to a second cell phone.
His behavior was despicable, deplorable, absolutely, on the testimony. That's probably why. Karen Reed testimony. Well, maybe it's this little thing he pulled a month ago here, Brian Walsh. Do we pause this? What happened here? He's frozen. All kinds of YouTube issues today. What's going on with this? Oh, he's just a statue. It's
Yes,
I thought the
based
video
on,
was frozen. Yuri's frozen. He's got a glitch.
My reviewing of that email content, there's no reference of a second phone.
Yeah, get rid of him. Exactly. Do you have a time?
And there's no reference to anything other than
Yeah, I heard about
Brian
young Noble.
Walsh's cell phone in that email.
I did hear about that. Pretty Eyes. Tupac Outlaws group member young Noble has passed away. Yeah, so many people have passed away related to that, huh? It is strange.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again, please?
There's no reference to any other cell phone other than Brian Walsh's cell phone in that email agreement.
Look at him.
It talks about the 6-year-old's iPad.
Right, but there's no reference to a second cell phone or any other cell phone in that email agreement.
That is correct.
And in fact, there's certainly nothing about.
You know what's funny is I have this sped up actually on 1.25. It does. It feels like 0.25. Seriously. So I have Yuri sped up on this, and a few points, he looked like I thought it was the video was frozen, like he was a statue. Oh my God, so true. Let's say that play again.
All of the minor children's cell phones.
That's correct.
There's reference in that email to one iPad, correct?
Yes.
And there's no reference to more than one iPad in that email, is there?
Just the 6-year-old's iPad.
Can I turn it up to 1.5? Let's put him up 1.5 and see if he sounds normal. Your video's not full. Oh, it's on normal.
It's fair to say that you
Yeah, We'll put ahead at 1.5. All right, it was normal. Now I'm at 1.5.
discussing this agreement.
Yes, it is. Yes.
And did you review that report before you testified here today on direct examination?
I did review it. Yes.
And it's fair to say that in that report, you make reference to an agreement that encompassed, quote, his cell phones in regard to Brian Walsh. And you use those cell phones, plural, correct? In your report.
I believe that's right, if you're not mistaken.
You have
All
that
right,
report with you?
we got a female call. I'm going to take it. Just Rhonda, aka something else. Oh, she turned her mic on. Let's bring up aka. Let's bring up Just Rhonda, aka Sassy Gemini. What do you have for us today? Especially if you have something to say on Jill Warren or any of this other stuff. What do you have for us, Just Rhonda, today?
Hi, Mike. From encouragement from the chat, I decided to go ahead and jump on your stream. So thanks for the invitation. I'm mostly, so I have watched this entire evidentiary hearing, all of the witnesses, right as they were doing it, not as they were doing it, but the same day that they did it, I watched all of them. And I don't know who else in the chat or if you, Mike, have watched all of them or not, but
No.
These guys, all the same guys that took part in the Karen Reed investigation, using my air quotes there, under investigation. They are all the same. They say the same things. They say the same I don't know, buzzwords maybe, and they're all just despicable. And this one, obviously from Yuri Buchanan, is especially bad because of how much I despise the man. So maybe I'm giving him more hate than maybe some of the others, but he's just despicable. And he definitely has a different demeanor during this hearing. And but if you I keep kind of dropping it in the chat, pay attention to his hands. Obviously, he does use a little bit of, some of the hand movements and stuff, but he's constantly, it appears to me, wringing his hands. And I could swear at some points I saw his hands like turning red and his knuckles white, like he's really, But I want to say something about something he said specifically about being trained in sane examinations. When talking about interviewing the child, a sane examination is actually, it's an acronym and it stands for Sexual Assault Nurse Examination, which has nothing to do with any of this. So him saying that, I just literally, if people could hear my eyes rolling, I wouldn't be surprised because it had nothing to do with this case. And it makes me sick that because I believe Brian Walsh is guilty. I just do. Normally, I don't do that. I try to stay open-minded about a case while I watch a trial. But in this case, I definitely believe he's guilty. Now, I'm concerned that I don't know that I would say that he would definitely walk because of this, but there's a big possibility, in my opinion, that Brian Walsh will walk, or at least get a lesser charge. I don't know what the charge is going to be exactly, and we know that can change throughout. But
we just have a lot of evidence that was clearly show guilt thrown out, which
Yes.
I mean,
if this judge, who I believe is definitely a constitutional judge, very different, like complete 180 from Canoni. I believe that she's going to uphold the Constitution. And as much as I hate to say it, all of these troopers definitely violated Brian Walsh's Fourth Amendment right. And when you read the email, when you see the email, and I can't remember if it's shown it during, or if we hear about it during Yuri McKinnick's testimony or not, because all of them testified. But anyway, they violated the agreement between Walsh's attorney and them. They violated it, and it's clear. And I don't know. I feel like the judge is going to do the right thing, but it's going to be the wrong thing for that community because of who possibly could walk. This murderer could literally walk because of it.
Yeah, we were also talking earlier about the witness intimidation from the anti-Karen Reed people. Joe Warren has a charge against them. We have a poll up in our up right now about who is most likely to lock down their account, like Joe Warren did today. We had 4 names up there, and we've got some confirmation right now from Mary Malarkey, who just sent a super chat, and she says, "Answer to your poll question, Mike. Julie Carpenter's posts are protected. Happened within the last hour." So again, like I said, I'm predicting things. I'm not wrong lately. I don't know if people have been noticing this, but I've been right on a lot lately. And this is just something else I just predicted, that one of these 4 people would be protecting their post pretty quickly. It happened while I'm live on the air. Are you surprised by that? Do you have any comment about what's been going on with these anti-Karen Reed trolls and the witness intimidation they've allegedly been doing that we've all been watching?
So I have paid attention to some of it, and I've commented. I'm nobody in that X world as far as all of this, so I make my comments and nobody ever says anything back to me, and I'm fine with that. But I predicted, listen, it could have been any of them. It could have been any of them. I predicted it would be Krusty, but but
I think she'll be the last one. I think Grant is more likely to
so?
do it before her.
Yeah,
I think Grant and her will be the last 2 to do it. Yeah.
DePetro, I think he's too much of a media whore to. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I could say that. Anyway, he just wants the attention. There's no way he could ever take it, block his stuff. But yeah, it could have been any of them, and I'm not surprised with Julie Carpenter. Grant, yeah, that I could see that too. So I could be very wrong. But yeah, that was my guess as I jumped in, and I was about an hour late to your stream, so I don't really know very much. But what I consider definite intimidation that I've seen on X, which I mean I don't usually go to any other social media things, but on X, definitely, it's been horrific, the stuff I've seen. And it just, the inhumanity that I've seen on X regarding some of the witnesses and the jury members, particularly Paula, of course, it's just like been kind of devastating to me. Like, I mean, I know the inhumanity is out there, but when you see it in your face, it's very disturbing. So, yeah, it's anyway. So I just wanted to say that every one of you, I don't know if you're planning on playing all of these testimonies, Mike, or not, but if you do, you guys are going to be interested. And if Mike doesn't, you can find them yourself too, and go watch all of these hearings or these testimonies. But they are all the same things, just in a much milder, less aggressive manner than they were in Karen Reed's trial, which is really bizarre. But this judge isn't playing, though, you guys. She's dead serious. She follows the Constitution, and I think it's very possible she could throw this evidence out, and that's very tragic. So anyway, but yeah. And Mike, I just wanted to say, I mentioned it a couple times in the chat, but I don't know if your members or your chatters like to use emojis or not, but I just mentioned, hey, if you need some emoji for your channel members, let me know. I would love to play around and make some for you. Anyway.
The ball on that. My mods were working on that, and I just got so
Okay.
busy. But it's something I definitely need
Yeah.
to do. So yeah,
Okay.
hit up my mod team if you could, and
Okay.
I need to get on that. So yeah, yes,
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. But anyway, there's a lot more we could talk about, but this is your show and I'm not trying to, hijack it or anything. So I just had a couple things I wanted to say about Buchanan and and I realized I kind of saw somebody say in the chat about sane exams. And yes, they can be used for, other types of interviews. But I it doesn't I don't care that Yuri Buchanan is trained in sane examinations. I will
doesn't
say
matter.
this, I wouldn't trust a freaking thing he does in any kind of
Yes.
a sane or forensic examination. He can't even do a proper investigation. So
That's the
anyway,
problem he's going to have going forward. Thank you so much. Great points, just Rhonda.
you're welcome. Thanks for having me. Thank you everybody in the chat for encouraging me.
Yes, thank you to the chat. Thank you to everybody in the chat today. All right, let's get this back up. Let's get it back up. If you want to call too, you can call in. Taking calls, StreamYard link at the top of the chat right now.
With me now.
And if you need to refresh your memory, just tell us. But you also, in that report, make specific reference to the agreement encompass his minor children's, plural, cell phones, correct?
I'd have to take a look at the report, sir.
No. Yes, sir. May I approach you?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
I'd ask you to read that. Does that refresh your memory about what you entered into your report when you drafted the articles?
Yes, it does.
To refresh your memory that, in fact, you make reference to cell phones plural when it comes to Mr. Walsh's cell phone.
Yes, it does.
Does it refresh your memory that, in fact, you made reference to all the children's cell phones?
Yes.
Does it refresh your memory that it referred to the children's iPads?
Yes.
Is it also fair to say that at the end of that report, you make specific reference that, quote, the agreement is attached to this report?
Yes, sir.
And the agreement we're talking about is what's already been introduced, correct?
That is correct, sir.
It's fair to say that that agreement that was introduced in evidence does not refer to multiple cell phones, multiple iPads, correct?
That is correct, sir.
And in fact, you said on direct examination that you had some conversation with Fanning, and Fanning then arranged to pick up the devices, correct?
That's correct.
Are you aware, in fact, that Fanning has written a report about what he went to pick up?
I am not aware now.
Did you talk to Fanning about what he had gone to pick up and what, in fact, he did pick up?
No, I never spoke to exactly what he picked up.
So you don't know that when Fanning went to Mr. Walsh's house to pick up the devices pursuant to the agreement, he only knew to pick up one cell phone and one item, correct? Or you don't know?
I don't know what he actually picked up. I communicated 2 cell phones on that day.
And my question is, though, that you apparently don't know that based on the conversation he had with you at the command post, that he thought he was only supposed to pick up one cell phone and one iPad. You don't know that, do you?
I never questioned Lieutenant Fanning on what he picked up.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
No objection.
22. Marked in a minute as Exhibit 22.
specifically, Sergeant, in that report that now is Exhibit 22, you specifically say the agreement was put into writing by Norfolk District Attorney's First Assistant Lynn Beelan, correct?
Yes, I do.
The agreement, you're referring to the email that's been introduced in evidence, correct?
That is correct.
There's nothing in the agreement that uses the phrase marital privilege.
No, sir.
There's nothing in your conversations that you put in your report that was to document this agreement. There's no reference to marital privilege, is there?
I'm sorry. There was two things you asked about. There was no mention of marital privilege outside of the statement about excluding communications between Anna and Brian Walsh.
And the phrase marital privilege does not appear in your report that's been introduced as Exhibit 22.
No.
And it doesn't appear in the, quote, agreement email that's been introduced as evidence.
That statement does not appear now.
And the only thing that is referenced, the only subject matter that's referenced in the email agreement is, quote, communications.
That's the only subject matter that needed to be carved out of the full extraction.
That wasn't my question. My question was the only subject matter that is referenced in the agreement is communications.
Yes, sir.
Do you know, Sergeant, do you know when Mr. Walsh first talked to Tracy Minor, his attorney, about the request to search his phone?
I have no idea.
And do you know, Sergeant Lieutenant, when Tracy Minor, Attorney Tracy Minor, and Assistant District Attorney Lynn Beelan first began discussing the request to search Mr. Walsh's phone?
I would strictly be speculating when they first began. My only knowledge is to the email being sent from Lynn.
Have you talked to Assistant District Attorney, now retired, Lynn Beelan, regarding this agreement prior to this hearing?
I have no memory of talking to her about this agreement.
So the government, the Commonwealth, has not asked you to go talk to retired Assistant District Attorney Lynn Beelan and say, what did you and Attorney Tracy Minor agree to? You haven't been asked to do that.
No, sir.
Now, it's fair to say that there are consent to search forms used routinely by the Mass State Police, correct?
Yes, sir.
And those consent to search forms, they require information to be entered on the form. It includes the person giving consent and the officer taking the consent, correct?
Yes, it is.
And they also include an area where you describe what is going to be searched, correct?
There's detailed explanation on the forms, yes.
And it's signed and dated by the person giving consent and a witness, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the reason for this is to make sure that people understand what consent was given, that it was given voluntarily, and what the parameters of any consent were, correct?
That is the purpose behind us reading those consent forms to the individuals we're getting the consent from.
And you didn't use one in this case.
No, sir.
And it's fair to say that you certainly had an opportunity to use one because you were at the home on January 5th, 2023, prior to any consent being given and any agreement being made, correct?
I was at the home at that point. I did not ask for consent on the 5th.
But yeah, move on.
You may.
I'm going to show you a document, and it's not for this case, but is it fair to say that that is an accurate representation of the consent to search form that's used by the Mass State Police?
Although it does appear as a form that's generated by the state police, that's not the form we use, so I can't represent that this is what we would have used.
What is different? What is different from that form you're looking at now and the form that you say would be used by the Mass State Police?
Well, there's a lot of different characteristics of the form itself, just the way it appears, the way it's presented, the bottom portion as well. It's just slightly different.
Can I ask you then, Sergeant Lieutenant, is it fair to say that that form, substantive, whatever form you're referring to, such a search form, would have included exactly what that form's asking for? Name of the person giving consent, a witness to sign on it, informing the person of their right to refuse consent, but also listing what and describing what is to be searched?
I would agree with you, yes.
So, with that caveat, how would you do this?
Your Honor, I object. If the council wants, I'm happy to get a copy of their form.
Why don't we do that? That's the form that they actually might be using now as opposed to that form. There's no dispute with regard to the contents of the form. He didn't fight you on that. He agrees with you. It's an evidence. You don't need the form that he's not familiar with.
Can I get a blank one and we'll sit with it?
That sounds terrific.
I did ask for it, but I didn't.
You didn't ask for, you asked for what, on what? Oh, previously?
I apologize to council. I have no memory of the asking for it. I will make sure that
We can reach agreement on this, I'm sure.
With regards to the agreement, there's nothing in the agreement email that has been produced as an exhibit. It references anything about searches, correct?
No, that specific term is not in the email.
And there's nothing in the email about location data, correct?
That's correct.
And once again, the only subject matter that's referenced in that email agreement is, quote, communication, correct?
Yes, as what to be excluded, yes.
Well, when you say what to be excluded, it's just, and, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but this will be my last question on this particular subject. The email agreement makes reference to what communications will be limited, and it makes specific reference to certain attorney-client conversations, communications, and communications between Mr. Walsh and Anna Walsh, correct?
That is what to be limited during the search and analysis of the device's data.
It certainly doesn't say, does it? Anywhere in that agreement that the agreement is that everything that's downloaded can be reviewed and analyzed, correct? Doesn't say that.
It does not specify that.
And it's important, isn't it? Just like that form that you were talking about a moment ago, it's important, isn't it, to be very specific in any written agreement as to what the terms of the agreement are, right?
It's important to understand what is being done. Our verbal communications mentioned phone extractions. That means all of the data on the phone, and what was to be limited based on our verbal communication, then subsequently put into email form, was the communications between client and attorney and Mr. and Mrs. Walsh.
But that's the way you're interpreting the content of this email that you did not write and did not respond to. That's fair, isn't it?
For the latter portion, yes, I did not write this email, nor did I respond to it. But the verbal agreement on the phone with Attorney Minor was that we were doing a full system data extraction on the devices provided that were consented to.
That's your memory.
Yes, it is.
And your memory is that the agreement also included all of Mr. Walsh's cell phones, all of the children's cell phones, and all of the children's iPads.
No, my memory was that the devices I knew about was Mr. Walsh's cell phone that was missing, the children's cell phone that was in Mr. Walsh's vehicle, and the iPad reference to by the 6-year-old, which was fixed by Anna. That's why the communication with Tracy Minor was about 2 cell phones with the iPad thrown in on top of those 2 devices.
Sergeant Buchanan, just on that particular answer to the question. The second sentence in your report that you wrote, that's dated January 6, 2023, you wrote specifically, during numerous phone conversations, we established a verbal agreement for the digital evidence extraction of devices belonging to and being used by Brian Walsh and his juvenile children to include Thomas Walsh, 6-year-old, Thomas Walsh's 6-year-old. Those include his cell phones and his minor children's cell phones and tablets, correct?
If that's verbatim from my report, that is what's written.
So my question that I asked you just a moment ago was, your memory of the agreement, was it involved all of those devices, not just the 2 that we're talking about?
My conversation with Attorney Minor was for the 2 cell phones I knew existed and were referenced.
So why did you put all those other devices in your report that you wrote specifically about the agreement?
I don't understand.
Why did you refer to all of those devices in the one single report that you wrote and refer to it as the agreement? Why did you include all of the devices?
Because there was knowledge of other devices existing. So there was Diana's statement that she purchased cell phones for all the children.
Okay.
And iPads and AirTags, etc. So there were other electronic devices that could have come to play.
You would agree, wouldn't you, Sergeant Buchanan, that there is some real ambiguity between what you stated as the content of the agreement in your report and that email that has been introduced to evidence?
I don't think it's ambiguous, no.
Were you present at the home, Mr. Walsh's home, on January 6th of 2023?
Going to jump in real quick and acknowledge the poll right now. Krusty is winning the poll with 44%. Number 2 was Baghdad Bob DePietro with 26%. And 19% Julie Carpenter. You guys are right. She was the one that actually did lock her account while the poll was in place. So Julie Carpenter in 3rd place actually won the poll. She was the one who locked her account today. Grant Smith only has 11%. I think if I were them, all of them, I'd be locking my accounts right now. But apparently Julie Carpenter is the only one so far who has locked her account. We'll see how it goes for the rest of the day. I noticed she's climbing in the polls. Julie Carpenter is now at 19%. She's actually the one. If you do want to call in today, we do have an open phone line right now through StreamYard. The link is pinned at the top of the chat. I could have put Coffin Daffer on there. I could have put a lot of other people on there as well. But unfortunately, YouTube only gives you 4 options. So I just picked the top 4 that came to my head. I also wanted to read a Venmo donation that came in today, too. Real quick. Venmo from Carrie B. Carrie B sent $20 on Venmo. Thank you so much, Carrie B. She says, shout out to Skip Tracer. That's Eric Neal. Shout out to Skip Tracer, the one who really provided all the information on Joe Warren. Your hard work has not gone unnoticed. Thank you so much to Carrie B for the donation. And thank you, Skip Tracer, as well for the info today that we went over. Look at this one. Who's this one? We got a troll in the chat here. Here, Ice Cracking. I want to thank I Hear Ice Cracking for being a big fan and helping with the algorithm by commenting on here. I'm not sure how many more comments my mods will allow, but here's one. I Hear Ice Cracking says, Turtle Boy will go to court tomorrow and then prison where he belongs. He's not going to prison tomorrow, meathead. I wonder if he will roll on Karen. She should be facing her own intimidation charges soon. Your people are. Joe Warren's facing a charge right now. I'd be more worried about your own friends facing intimidation charges right now. I hear Ice Cracking. We did. We had one troll in the chat today. Yeah, they really are insane, these people. Who is Joe Warren? He's a nasty, evil troll. Start from the beginning. Watch my live from the beginning today, and you'll get more than you want to know about Joe Warren. He's somebody who is anti-Karen Reed, who started out free Karen Reed. He's been anti-Karen Reed. He's got a violent criminal history, violent assaults over and over again. And he's been threatening witnesses and jurors, it seems like, on social media, we've noticed. And he's caught a charge recently. But you can watch from the beginning, and you'll find out much more about who Joe Warren is. Start from the beginning of the stream. All right, let's try to get through this.
I don't remember.
One more minute.
I don't remember going to the home. I might have been. I don't remember going to the home. I know I was at the command post. There was other missions I was conducting. I don't have a specific memory of being at the house. But if you have a specific question about maybe what transpired, I could give you an answer.
Do you know that there were numerous searches conducted at the house on January 6th?
This is probably
I
one.
know that the search.
Here. I just loved. I'm just going to call you for being stupid, Henrik. Why feed the troll? Nobody's being fed. This guy, friggin', if you didn't notice, he shut down his social media today. He locked his shit down. How is he being fed when he's in hiding? When he can't get more than $25 more in donations, and he's facing criminal charges of felony witness intimidation. How is that? Do you think feeding a troll is them getting a felony witness intimidation charge? Is that feeding trolls? Is feeding trolls having them lock down their accounts? Julie Carpenter and this clown locked down their accounts today. They're not being fed. Wake the hell up. Be more educated with your comments here. Please. Know who you're talking to, too. Know who you're talking to. I'm tired of the fools on here making their dumb comments. This isn't the JV team over here. If you haven't noticed. Joe Warren is not happy about what we're doing today. Trust me on that. He's in hiding, as he should be. I'm not afraid of the trolls. The trolls should be afraid of us. Stop worrying about giving them a platform. They have no platform. They've been trying for years. They can't get more than 300 followers before their accounts get deactivated again. We're at 57,000 followers on YouTube. Just YouTube alone. Over 100,000 followers total. What does he have? He doesn't even have 1,000. Nobody's getting fed. You think we don't know what we're doing here? Come on. Jesus Christ. So sick of the idiots who have never built anything telling us how to run our shit. Get a couple thousand people following you, and then maybe we might listen to you.
Third team and the dive team conducted searches around the home. I was not present for those searches. I was at the command post.
And you weren't there because you were in DC on January 7th.
That's correct. Early morning, January 7th, I left for DC.
And if anyone's being fed, it's being us being fed by the trolls. The trolls feed us. That's really what's going on here. So we get fed. I'm eating today. I'm enjoying my meal. I'm enjoying the meal that Joe Warren has created for us. And I'm enjoying sticking up for the woman that he's been harassing. And I'm really feeling good about exposing what he did to other people out there who are innocent victims who are probably afraid that got assaulted with a bike lock on the back of their head. I'm enjoying that. Why I'm here. He's feeding us.
Just so I'm following along, the date that you were using was 1/6.
Yes, for when searches were conducted.
Right. He left on 1/7.
Right, he's
He
not
could have
there.
been there, but he's at the outpost.
And I love
I just want to
sticking
make
up
sure
for
I'm
these
trying to
women.
follow
I
along
love
with
it.
what the evidence is and that you're not missing up the dates. That's what I'm asking.
I could be messing up the dates, I'll be the
I don't
first to
know.
admit that,
I'll
but
let you go.
let me just say,
Giving you the opportunity to correct it if I've got something wrong. But I've raised it,
I
and maybe
appreciate,
I'm the one that has it wrong.
when did you leave for DC on January 7th?
Early morning hours. I don't know the exact time of the flight. Could have been 8, 9 a.m. But I never responded to Cohasset.
I don't know. I don't know if there's a StreamYard issue, but the link was working earlier. We've had 3 callers already today, and it's worked. So I'm not aware that the link isn't working. It must be an issue on your end. All right, let's finish this
I
video.
went from my
So you were not at the home
Good call here.
on January 7th?
No, sir. I
I'll
was
be right back.
And
I'm
you're
gonna see
not
who's
sure
calling
if
me.
you were at the home on
Too
January
many
7th?
calls today.
I do not have a specific memory of being there. I might have. Yeah.
But we can all agree you were there on January 5th.
Yes, sir.
Were you there on January 8th?
No, I was not.
And did you negotiate, did you call it the agreement? Did you negotiate the dates that are involved?
The person wants us to exclude would be excluded. Brian Walsh was eager to help us find Anna. The same sentiment was felt by me from Tracy Minor. She was trying to help while conducting her responsibilities as a defense attorney. So that was my understanding based on our conversation.
But was it your understanding that regardless of the community, communications that are referenced in there, attorney-client communications and communications between Mr. Walsh and Anna Walsh, that in fact there was a temporal limit placed on any search of the devices?
Can you rephrase that question, please? The temporal limit, I just want to make sure I understand correctly.
That in fact there was a date of 12/25/2022 that the search parameter would begin, and there was an ending date of January 6, 2023 of the search parameter when the search would end. Are you aware of that?
I am aware of the date that we couldn't go back past, and that was the 25th. So we couldn't search for communications between client and attorney before the 25th, as well as Mr. and Mrs. Walsh's communications.
And I guess what I heard you say was that it wasn't you that suggested.
All right, crazy Brazilian. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What do you want to comment today on?
What I'm on a comment and this clown that you have on the screen right now.
I'm having a kind of a hard time hearing you. So if you could speak up a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, I want to comment on this clown that you have on the screen right now.
Go ahead. Yes.
I can't believe that they still give him a job. I can't believe he's still employed for Massachusetts State Police. Ham,
Yeah, I know,
Cully,
right?
and Fanny needs to go. They need to
Yeah.
go. If Massachusetts State Police want to have their trust back, they need to fire those 3 guys. They incompetent.
Definitely. And what do you think about the fact that he might screw up this Anna Walsh case?
I think Brian Walsh is guilty as 100%. But at the same time, for the job that they did, I hope Brian Walsh walk free.
Mm. I don't hope he walks free. I don't want him
I
walking
do
free.
because they need to learn. They need to learn the lesson. They cannot just do whatever they want.
I feel you on that, but it's the same time he did,
Like,
you know.
and I'm sorry, but the judge might not gonna let this in evidence. I don't think she will.
Mm.
She's not anti-Bev. If she was
Yeah.
anti-Bev, she will allow everything coming in.
And what do you think about these trolls now? They're locking down their accounts now that criminal charges have gone out against at least one of them.
I love it. They deserve every single piece of it. Not be able to be a troll again.
You laughed. That was
Can you
funny.
hear me?
I like that. You enjoying it.
Are you
What
kidding me? It's
about the
funny.
dude that got up here and said, "Don't feed the troll"?
What do you mean? Don't feed the troll.
Anytime I talk about these idiots, people get up here and say, "You're feeding them. You're feed." Like they act like if I cover it, they're like the trolls all of a sudden going to get 1,000 new followers, which they don't. They don't
No,
get
they
anything.
don't.
I
They
don't get it.
don't.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
just go and like I want to see. You know who you forgot to put um
Paul,
on your poll?
who?
Mama Llama
Oh
Mama.
yeah, Mama Llama, Terry Llama.
Oh
Yeah,
my God, she
she's
deserved to
probably
do
getting
that.
charged too, right? You think she deserves a charge?
Oh yes. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me? What she did? Oh yes.
yeah.
Yeah, and she keeping saying all the jurors are Karen Reed, and no, she deserve it. She blocked me a long time ago.
Oh yeah, me too. She stalks me
Okay.
still. Thank you so much, Crazy
Oh,
Brazilian. That's a good
oh,
point. Carrie Lama deserves to be on that list.
thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Great call. Please
Yep.
call again. Bye now.
Thanks. I will. Bye.
I want to thank our mod team. Sarah and Chuck and Howard just posted up our new new Facebook group. Excuse me. We have a new Facebook group called Massachusetts Police Corruption Watch. Please join it if you haven't already joined it on Facebook. She posted the link in the chat. I'm going to pin it. I'm going to replace the pinned message in the chat. It's from Sarah and Chuck and Howard. Join our new Facebook group, Massachusetts Police Corruption. So please do follow that new group. We're posting a lot of info there. Look at this. Look at this. Please vet callers for substance. No, I won't, Bonnie. I won't do what you tell me to do. I'll do my show the way I want to. I'm not hiring someone to vet callers. Are you insane? Are you friggin' insane? Seriously. There's not even a way to do that on StreamYard. That's please stop. Or just don't watch. Don't tell me how to do my show. I'm so sick of that bullshit. I really am. I got no more patience for you folks with your unsolicited comments. If you want to do a show that way, go right ahead. It's really easy, isn't it? It's really easy to give the feedback, isn't it? A lot harder to do.
Suggested 12:25.
And that caller was great. She was phenomenal. She was quick, right to the point. She had a good laugh at the trolls. I liked her.
Correct?
I liked her better than I liked your comment. Maybe what we should do, since you got suggestions in the chat, maybe we should vet the chatters. Maybe we should get rid of you. All of a sudden, you don't like that, right? Right? Yeah, I bet you don't like that. I bet you don't like us vetting the chat, especially if we're gonna remove you, right, Bonnie? Right, Bonnie? I bet all of a sudden you don't like that kind of criticism, right? I got no more patience for it, people, if you can tell. Just had enough of it.
Right. I wouldn't have a reason to pick a date. That date, other than being Christmas, it had no significance to me.
And it wasn't you who picked the date of January 6th, 2023.
I believe it was present. So the term used was present.
I like Crazy Brazilian. She was good. She called in. I like it. And you know what? I'll even post the chat again for what was her name? That woman, Misty, or whoever it was that I just threw down. If she wants to call in, she can call in. I'll let her call in. Maybe she wants to push back on me. It's stuff for fun.
On direct examination, you use the word documentation. In the
I'm
context of what
gonna throw it out there
Tracy
again.
Myers Minor asked.
Monty, if you want to call in, go right ahead.
You remember that?
Yes.
And was it documentation regarding what the agreement was?
She just wanted to put in writing, so we needed to document what the specifics were.
And was it also documentation about what in fact searches were conducted and how they were conducted?
No, we didn't discuss the details of the searches. She just wanted specific things
Oh, I
excluded
thought I had.
from the
I'm sorry.
analysis and the
I
search.
thought I had the video back up. I'm just sitting there watching the video. I didn't know you guys were just watching me. Sorry. You know, I got a caller. Let's take the caller. Who's on the phone, Donna?
Hi, Mike. It's Donna from Connecticut.
Hey, Donna from Connecticut. What do you got for us today? Since I'm not vetting any of the callers.
I hate to say it, but I think Walsh's charge is going to get kicked because they're going to suppress this evidence, which means all the rest of the evidence isn't going to come in. It's all fruit of the poisonous tree.
I hope not. I really hope
I know.
not.
I know. I hope not too. I think he's guilty of sin, but unfortunately, this judge is an anti-bev, so she does things by the books. From what I heard, she's a really good judge, and she's not going to have this. She's just not. And if they suppress these searches of the phone, everything else came from that. So it's all, like I said, fruit of the poisonous tree. So everything else is out.
How stupid of them.
But how typical of them. I mean,
Yeah.
they did it with Sandra Birchmore. They did it in Walsh. They did it with Karen. The problem is with Karen, now it's all exposed. So now it's all coming out. They did it for so long and got away with it, and now they're caught. But I don't understand how the rest of them haven't been fired along with Proctor. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, it's just they should all be fired.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this. What do you think about these trolls? This is the thing I really like talking about today. These trolls are starting to find out. One of them has found out that he's going to be indicted on August 4th. He took down his social media. He put out GoFundMe. He's crying about how everyone's coming after him. He hasn't done anything wrong. And now Julie Carpenter, we put our poll out. Who's the next troll that's going to lock up their social media? And before the show's even over, it's Julie Carpenter. She's already locked up her account. What do you think about these trolls? What do you think? What do you think about all that today?
I think it's about time they're being held accountable for what they did. And Krusty, well, she's already facing charges for witness intimidation and all that. So she's too stupid to shut hers down. I don't think she's going to do it, but she should go too. And Sherry definitely should be arrested. I mean, that's illegal. She's calling for somebody to be murdered. I'm sorry, that's illegal. You can't do that.
Yep. Absolutely.
And now they're all going to cry. They're all going to cry victim, and they're going to blame it on Turtle Boy.
It's right.
That's what
that's
what they do.
Carolyn and a couple other chatters have been keep bringing up what happened to Turtle Boy in the Cape yesterday. I thought it was wild that they're accusing Turtle Boy of stalking different people on the Cape when he's just on vacation with his girlfriend, whose family has a cottage down there and a boat. And he's obviously not stalking them.
Stalking Colin.
Yeah. But at the same time, I just want to note this and ask your opinion. Let me just get this out.
Go ahead.
Is she basically docks Turtle Boy? Now, Turtle Boy has a restraining order against her. She's posting online his location.
Yep.
Somebody that has a restraining order on her, she's posting about him. And not just posting about him, posting his location. She doxed him yesterday. So that's what I think is wild about the whole thing about the Cape yesterday, is that Krusty Panties, who has a restraining order against her from Aiden Carney, doxed him yesterday. How does she think that's going to turn out good for her? She is
Because-
insane. What do you think?
You know what? She's so comfortable right now because the DA has been protecting her, Mello and them, she's been working with them. So she's so comfortable doing whatever she's going to do, thinking that she's not going to get prosecuted. But that's all over. Mello's out. Cosgrove ain't going to help her. And Morrissey's probably distancing himself as far away from her as he can get. So she needs to smarten up. I think she just got so comfortable with them protecting her and whatever she did that she just feels like she could continue to get away with it.
Great point, Donna. It's so true, because I mentioned this the other day about Joe too. I feel like the same thing. They got so cocky. They've been getting away with it for so long that they just kept ratcheting up. They're getting worse and worse and worse. And when they're attacking the jurors, I mean, that is just, yeah, you're right. I think they felt protected, and now they're realizing, maybe not so protected,
Yeah. I mean, and they're such hypocrites talking about Aiden and witness tampering, and what do they think they're doing with the jury? I mean, they're harassing them and accusing them of all these crimes, and I mean, they're doing the same thing, but they don't see it when they're doing it. It's okay when they're doing it. It's if you're Karen Reed, it's bad. Turtle Boy bad. But it's okay if us trolls do it because we want justice for John O'Keefe. They don't want anything for John O'Keefe. They don't even hardly talk about John O'Keefe. They're too busy talking about Turtle Boy and the jury.
Absolutely.
The only one that really cares about John O'Keefe is the Karen Reed fans.
That's right.
Followers, whatever.
We want justice. Thank you so much, Donna, for calling today.
You're welcome. Have a good day. And I loved you going off on that troll. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye, Mike.
Bye, Donna. Thanks for calling. Call again. I got another caller in the green room. I'm going to bring up in a second. Missy's channel. Isabel Park says, I've never seen Mike get so angry. I wasn't even that angry. I was just, I'm just a little peed off. I'm not holding back anymore. I'm not worried. Like before, it was like, be nice to everybody because we got a free Karen to read. Now it's like, you know what? I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to listen to your crap telling me what to do. I think we're doing all right here on our own. Isabel, thank you for the comment. I have been angrier on here, definitely. There are moments when they call it spicy Mike. Some people like it. Missy's channel. Hey, Missy, what's going on? What do you got for us today?
I just wanted to talk about the 71 count indictment that I feel like the mainstream media is hiding, that involves 6 Massachusetts state troopers that were charged in a 71 count indictment January 2024. And it involves bribery, extortion, falsifying records, and a various other slew of charges.
I don't think that's been hidden, though. Are you talking about the R&V stuff?
R&V. I'm not sure about the R&V. It was the CDL case. There's been multiple.
Yeah, that's it. The CDL. Yeah. I mean, that has not been covered up. I mean, that's been on. Did you see the videos of the reporters in the state police officer's face as he walking on the court?
I have looked for the mainstream media covering it, and they're not really doing that. I'm specifically talking about the mainstream media because they keep spilling this, like it's just ridiculous to act like there's not cops and troopers and family members and friends that all, conspire to abuse power together, especially right after the Karen Reed verdict. That's the first thing they did.
I don't agree on that. I mean, I think they've covered that quite a bit. It's federal, so it's not like they're going to be in court for it. I don't know. I feel like they've covered it. I do. I feel like they covered that quite a bit. I saw it. I saw the reporters there. It's going to continue to be covered, so I'm not feeling that. I don't think that's true. I think they have covered it.
The mainstream media is talking about this. They had a trial and convicted one of the troopers, and it wasn't covered.
There's a go. I just did a Google on it. Is Fox 25 Mass State Police Sergeant dishonorably discharged amid CDL bribery scandal? Multiple stories. Mass Live covered it. WXLP covered it. WCVB covered it. Worcester Telegram and Gazette. I could go on. There's been a lot of coverage of it, actually.
Media, I'm talking about the mainstream media. Like you have Dateline.
That is the mainstream media in Massachusetts. I appreciate your call. Thank you for calling in tonight, Missy. Yeah, I don't agree. I just, I think they've covered that plenty. Not what we're talking about either. So we're talking about Buchanan right now. This little scandal here, him testifying, and also the trolls today. If you want to call in on that, but the CDL stuff's been covered. I'm sorry, it has been. I mean, we all know his name, Gary Cedarquist, right? I mean,
searching of the data from those devices, and that's documented by First Assistant and Beelan, and she agreed to it. That's all I have.
Redirect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant, what memory do you have of Attorney Meyer mentioning bail privilege in your conversation?
No memory whatsoever.
The same that was mentioned, where does the district attorney's office and the state police do those forensic examinations of children?
To the best of my knowledge, at the NAC in Foxborough, if I'm not mistaken.
And do you have any certifications in cell phone analysis?
I do.
And what certifications do you have?
I have a Celebrate Basic course. It's a week-long course with certification.
So when you say the term digital evidence extraction, what significance does that have as far as celebrating your understanding?
It's a full file system download, basically a copy of what the device contains for data and information on it that's then transferred onto a processing computer with an exact copy. Then Celebrate parses out certain information that's either labeled or carved out if it has been deleted and no longer assigned a value that is of significance.
Did Attorney Meyer request the consent of public disclosure?
No, she did not.
Recross. The witness may step down.
Thank you.
even if you're talking about the national news media, they're not going to cover something like that. It's like such small potatoes. If they do, it's going to be for 5 seconds. Like, national media doesn't cover scandals about RMV licenses. If the state police were caught with Whitey Bulger doing that type of material, that's when the national media covers it, or it's a more scandalous story. It's just I don't get it. Like the local Boston media has covered it quite a bit. I don't know. I wasn't interested. It seemed like a gripe fest over nothing, honestly. Especially knowing what I know, it's not unusual that they wouldn't cover something like that. All right, that's the end of the testimony. Someone said, am I going to cover look at some of the Fanning testimony? Definitely. I'm definitely going to be looking at this Brian Walsh stuff much more because it obviously relates. It's all the same people. And I hope that caller didn't feel like I was being rude to her, even though it was abrupt, but I just didn't want to talk about it. It felt like a non-issue. We're talking about, what are we talking about today? We're talking about Buchanan, his testimony, and we're talking about the trolls. CDL licenses that was heavily covered in the Boston media. I don't think that's something that we really need to waste any time with. All right. I think I got all the calls in. I think everyone who wanted to call in got to call in today. Is that the stripper cop? Yeah, he is a stripper. He just the towel between the legs and like he's riding a horsey. With shirt over the head. Remember that? Yuri. That is Yuri. Yeah, I probably will. I'll probably stream the Walsh hearings and testimony. I hope people hit me up. Let me know when it's going on because I am busy. Sometimes I'll miss that stuff, especially when I'm so zoned in. So let me know. Let me know when the next Walsh hearing is, and I'll try to get it up on the stream. Tomorrow, we're going to try to cover Turtle Boy, 2 p.m. I hope everyone's there. If you can get there, court tomorrow. Dedham, court tomorrow, 2 p.m. Turtle Boy. I need a 3mm show. Maybe. The problem with having a 3M show right now with Bettero is it's what do we talk about? You know, we could definitely talk about maybe one of his most recent cases. He had another big case that it looks like he won. He had charges dismissed on a guy that was filming the police and got attacked. It was phenomenal. I love watching what Bettero's up to, especially with his own cases. So that's interesting. But most of the stuff we'd want to talk to Bettero about is the Turtle Boy stuff, and he's kind of limited in what he can say. We'll definitely try to have him back on, but it was much easier to have him on and just talk, have him go off for 2 hours, 2.5 hours in the Karen Reed trial. It's going to be more difficult now, and obviously we could have him back on to talk about some of the latest updates of the Karen Reed stuff, but it's almost like rehashing. But we'll get him back on. He's going to come back on. We always invite him back on, and love having Mark on the show, and Mazza too. I think Mazza and LTL are live today. Maybe right now, around 3 p.m. I think it was 3 or 4 p.m. So go check out them. I've got to go do a dog walk and try to maybe eat some more lunch. I took a couple breaks today because I realized I need to eat. I was like stuffing my face full of food, and I'm still hungry, but I have to go do a couple more dog walks. Did I apologize? I think I did. Was she the one that I don't even know. I think it was Bonnie, actually. I don't even know. I'm confused by all the names. Brian Walsh scheduled October 20th, 2025. That'll be interesting. Yeah, and I wasn't trying to be rude to that caller. I just didn't want to talk about it. It just didn't seem like, to me, that's a non-issue. The Boston media covered it. I don't expect ABC News to cover RMV fraud. I just don't. It's not like they're covering Russia and Ukraine. They're covering Trump. They're not going to be covering some little scandal in Massachusetts around RMV fraud. Now, if someone got killed, that's a different story, right? It's like there's levels of coverage, and if you're in the media, there's an old phrase that always goes: if it bleeds, it leads. There's no one bleeding in the RMV story. The only people that arguably are bleeding are the people losing their pensions, the state police, but they're not physically bleeding. You know what I'm saying? So, like the mainstream media, especially the big media, they're going to go after the things that are most jarring. Natural disasters, the floods, things like that. What Trump's doing, what ICE, all that stuff. That's what they're covering. They're not going to cover some scandal that no one was assaulted or beaten or murdered. You know what I'm saying? It's just like not that. It doesn't rise to that level. No offense to her. I just didn't want to get into that. It just didn't seem productive, especially when we had a lot more video to do. And I do have a time to go. Yeah, the floods. I mean, that's the stuff they're covering. I mean, what would you cover right now? Would you cover the floods where children were in a campsite and missing, and probably who knows what happened to them? That tragedy, or would you cover? Oh, the police. The police were taking bribes for R&V. No one cares about that on a national level, and it's old. It is old news. And I wouldn't even doubt if the national media did actually do a couple stories on it, just because it did actually get a lot of coverage. I thought it got a lot of coverage, especially locally. TV news, they were all there. I would like to see the TV news cover the jury intimidation, Joe Warren, like they covered the RMV scandal. I mean, that to me is the the thing that we should be calling for, is that they don't cover Joe Warren like they covered the RMV scandal. That's what we should be asking for, is that the local media, the Boston TV media, start covering this stuff like they cover everything else. All right, I'm going to go too. Yeah, and it's old news. That's the other thing. It is old news. And it's ongoing. You know, there'll be more coverage as the federal trials happen. There are some, I know some of them have pleaded out. I don't think all of them. So there'll be more coverage of that. Definitely. I feel like I had something else to tell you, and I can't remember what it is before I leave. I'll remember it as soon as I hit the goodbye button. But again, we'll be trying to cover tomorrow, 2 p.m. Look for a live stream. I'm going to set it up for Aiden Carney Turtle Boy. No guarantees. Like I said, it always depends if we can find a Zoom link. So tomorrow morning when I get up, I'll be hitting up the court and trying to get that Zoom link. And definitely, if you didn't get to see what we're covering on Joe Warren, check it out. It's like an hour. The first like hour of the show, very revealing. Check it out. And we'll see you tomorrow from the court, hopefully, 2 p.m. Have a great night, everyone. Stay cool. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, the weekend. It's almost over. I hope you had a great 4th of July. We'll talk soon. Hopefully tomorrow. I want to thank MJ, Sarah Shakahara, Stephanie, who else? Jen-O, and Scott McGinnis, our mod team. And if you haven't joined, please join our new Facebook group. It's pinned at the top of the chat right now. All right. I want to thank Patricia H, too, who gave $10 early last week, Wednesday. I don't know if I thanked her on the Cash App. Thank you so much. And again, we'll see you tomorrow, 2 p.m., hopefully streaming. We're going to try to do our best. If I don't get it up for any reason or there's technical difficulty, please take it easy on me, because you know I'll be just as mad as you. I'll be even more frustrated. That's what drives me nuts, is when people are getting mad at me, not realizing I am just as pissed as you as when we can't get that shit up. I want to get it up tomorrow. And that's why I'm staying home. Like, I was going to go to court. I want to go to court, but I'm like, you know what? I feel like we need to get that stream up. I think it's more important than me personally going in and feeling good about being in court. There'll be other opportunities for me to be at court, and hopefully we can, when the trial happens, I'll start the stream and then I'll get in the car. Then I'll go to court. So I could probably do both. Then for a hearing, I don't think it makes sense for me to go in. I think it makes more sense for me to do the stream. Hopefully it works out for me. I'm going to be really mad if I don't get the stream up tomorrow, and I could have gone into court. We'll see. Well, I'm going to do my best. I want to thank our mod team. Someone just said the best mod team around. Yes, indeed, they are. And we'll see you tomorrow on the live stream, hopefully, 2 p.m. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.